Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Sim Racing Series Championship Night. We have two championships to decide here tonight around the 1.5 mile Homestead-Miami Speedway, the Premier Series, as well as the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series. Hello everyone, I'm Peter Short, joining me in the booth here tonight, making his 3-wide TV return, Mr. Tanner Sharp. And Tanner, it's going to be a really interesting race here tonight. We have those names on your screen: Jared Mogard, Tim Knott, Mitch Brown, Joseph Seville, going for the Sam Maxwell Customs Premier Series title, and Mitch Brown and Jared Haggerty also going for the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series title, but they will be joined in that fight by Will Warser and Jared Haggerty. It's going to be a very good race here tonight. Tanner, what are your thoughts about coming to Homestead-Miami Speedway?
Well, these drivers, every single one of these drivers started the series off back in Daytona in February, and it's now all come down to this here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, the Sam Maxwell Customs Homestead 150, and it is now go time. If you're one of those, if you're a championship 4, it is now, the race is just on, and tonight is now the white flag. It is on for Mitchell Brown, Jared Haggerty, Jared Mogard, and Will Worsler. One of those 4 drivers will become champion here tonight at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. And a little bit of discussion about Homestead here. Let's talk about the racetrack. This racetrack is a 1.5 mile racetrack, high banks of 18 to 20 degrees of progressive banking in the corners of the racetrack, and 3 degrees on the straightaways. This racetrack, ever since iRacing came out with dynamic tracks, it has opened up multi-groove racing. You'll see drivers on the bottom, you'll see drivers in the middle groove, and you'll also see drivers on the high groove, right in that Richard Petty area or the Harry Gant High Line, driving right next to that wall, just inches to that wall and not even scraping it. So these trucks are ready to go here tonight, and we're ready to kick it off here on 3-Wide TV.
Yeah, very, very long season. This season started months ago. All these drivers have been looking forward to this race here tonight to crown your Truck Series and Premier Series champion. Of course, both of those brought to you by Sam Maxwell Customs. Go check them out if you haven't already. Sam has put some spectacular prices on the table here tonight for the champion of the Premier Series. I've seen a picture on Facebook. They look absolutely impressive. Some custom-made steering wheels for these drivers' sim rigs, and you will definitely want to see those. But that man right there, driver number 42, league owner and organizer Jim Foose, making his final Premier Series start here tonight in that Menards Toyota Tundra. It will be interesting to see if he can bring that thing home. I know prior to the race he was mentioning that he just wants to finish this race because last year he was unable to. With a racetrack like Homestead-Miami in the dark, it's going to be very, very grippy and is going to be a very contested race here tonight. Those names you see in blue on the left-hand side of your screen, those are the Truck Series playoff drivers. Of course, you'll have to keep an eye on the Premier Series playoff drivers, Tim Knott, Joseph Seville. They are not currently in blue over there, but we'll keep an eye on them tonight. Essentially, to win this championship, you just have to be the highest finishing driver out of those 4 on each side of that blue line. So the highest finisher on the top side will become your Premier Series champion, and if they finish the highest on the bottom side, they'll be the Truck Series champion. Pretty much as simple as that. So Tanner, these drivers out here have a couple different banners here tonight. The red banner indicates that they're in the Premier Series playoffs. That driver right there, 41 of Tim Knott, he is one of those drivers. The yellow banner that you'll see on top of the front windshield and the rear spoiler, those will be your Truck Series playoff contenders as well. But Tanner, 41 in the wall there. Tanner, just how much pressure is on these drivers here tonight to get a good run that can win them the championship?
Well, I gotta tell you here, Peter, if you're running here in the Truck Series side of things, the Premier Series is both Cup and Truck. But if you're just talking the Truck Series side, if you felt the pressure just trying to get into the playoffs, well, one pressure went off your back, another pressure came on, you're mixing with other drivers. All of a sudden, you may find yourself in the final 4, and the pressure is just now even more heavier. This is probably the most antagonizing, most pressured race you'll ever drive out of all the races you ran. Out of all 28 races, this is the most gut-wrenching, nervous race. I thought Daytona, a track like that, is a very nervous race. This race is for a championship. And if you can come out on top, you can call yourself a champion. So the nerves are on for those 4 drivers: Brown, Haggerty, Mogard, and Worsler. So this is going to be a wild one tonight.
Yeah, and let's not forget that this Premier Series championship started all the way back on January 8th of 2019. That was effectively 10 months ago. They've had 10 months working towards this night, this one race, and they should put on an absolute spectacular show, as we have seen all season long in the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series and the Premier Series, which, like you said, combines the Cup Series and the Truck Series side of things. Of course, we crowned a Cup Series champion just a few weeks ago here at Homestead-Miami. Mitch Brown took that title, and we are looking at the possibility of Mitch Brown taking all 3 titles, the Premier Series, the Truck Series, as well as the Sim Marketing Solutions Cup Series just a few weeks ago. So that will be a storyline that we'll have to keep an eye on. There is the 00 machine of Will Worsler finally out there on the racetrack. He will be, did I say Will Worsler? Jared Mogard in the 00 machine. Will Worsler currently atop the leaderboard. That's why I'm getting mixed up. But Jared Mogard in that 00 machine has been very, very quick all season long. In fact, he won the very first race of the year back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, almost flipping the wall there coming out of turn number 4, using up as much racetrack as possible. And Mogard goes second on the board. In fact, it looks like all of the Truck Series playoff drivers will be starting within the top 7. Tim Knott currently is in the 8th position. Jared Haggerty sits in 5th. Tim Knott, of course, in 8th currently. He's one of your Premier Series playoff drivers. And Joseph Seville, gotta see, where is Seville right now? He's yet to take a time here in qualifying. So let's see if we can see what that number 11's thinking. Still not out there on the racetrack. We'll have to see where he ends up once his qualifying is all said and done. But it would be interesting to see Seville not take a qualifying lap, but he has yet to do so with just under 4 minutes to go. And Tanner, I know in a race like this with all those nerves, how important is it to get a good qualifying spot?
Oh, very important indeed, because if you're Joseph Sawville and all of a sudden you don't make a qualifying run, you're going to be stuck in traffic. And when you're stuck in traffic, anything can happen in front of you. A mistake from another driver spinning out. A number of things could happen. And the most important thing is, if nothing happens on the track and we have these green flag runs, the tires wear off, and it's harder to get back up towards the front, especially trying to keeping up with guys like Will Worsler, Jared Haggerty, Jared Mogard. It's hard to keep up, and you're losing time to them. So you want to at least try to get a good qualifying run and try to stay up there in the top 10 as the best you can. Keep track of other drivers too. Here's on screen right now for that the Premier Series: Mogard, Knott, Brown, and Sawville. Let's take Sawville, for example. If he can qualify at least close to the top 10, that's great. Try to remain in the top 10 the best you can. Keep an eye on Mogard, Knott, and Brown to see where they're at. Don't feel pressurized at the start of the race. This is going to be a long race tonight. It's 100 laps, so don't. We will have pit stops, and if we do get a number of cautions, pit strategy. Try to think clean on it. So there's a lot of things that's going into this race tonight, both on the Premier Series side and the actual Truck Series Championship. Truck Series Championship, man, these guys are running for that championship there, and that's a big deal. Both championships are a big deal here tonight.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. The champions, of course, receiving a pair of SMV1 wheels from Sam Maxwell Customs, and there will also be 2 sets of speed pods for NASCAR style rims on the line here tonight as well. So Sam Maxwell Customs definitely laying it out for these drivers here tonight. So definitely going to be a lot on the line. Of course, we've mentioned that they started the season all the way back in January, 10 months ago. Very, very long season. In fact, I don't know of another sim racing league that has quite as long of a season, as well as many races as this one. 42 races long is the Sam Maxwell Customs Premier Series. They go to a lot of racetracks, both on the Cup Series and the Truck Series side of things, and just sum up all those points to get you your ultimate Premier Series champion. Here high above the Homestead-Miami Speedway, you see that lovely infield road course, one of the best infield road courses in all of all of the racetracks, at least all the ovals that have a infield road course. Very interesting track to drive as well. Got some good overtaking opportunities. I've raced there myself with the Ferraris. A lot of fun to race that. But of course, we're running on the high banks here tonight, a mile and a half, variably banked. And like you said, they will be all over this racetrack at various points here tonight. But Tanner, what are you kind of expecting to see as the run goes on? Do you expect to see lots of people on the bottom early in the run and then move up potentially?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if drivers already right off the bat on lap one move to the middle to high groove off the bat. I mean, the more you run the bottom, the more you're going to trip the tires. The way the tire wear is here on iRacing, the more you're going to trip the tires if you run the bottom. Yeah, there's a ton of grip down there, and you could probably make up a lot of ground on the very first lap. But you got to remember, the more you run on that bottom, the more you're kind of wearing off that right side tire, especially that right front tire. So you kind of have to be easy on that. If you really want to conserve just a little bit right off the bat and maybe get them in the longer run, use up that high line. That's what I would do, is use up that high line. Go up right next to that wall and don't scrape the wall, but just run up there and just kind of run your race. It's 100 laps tonight, so even if you're running for a championship or not, just kind of take your time, understand your surroundings, and hopefully you'll be there at the end. The best thing you can do is put yourself in a position to win this race. Circumstances are going to dictate the outcome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It will have lots of twists and turns tonight, I am sure. But the field now gritting for the start of the 42nd and final American Sim Racing Series race of the season. And it is one of your Truck Series contenders, the number 29 of Will Worsler, who has won the pole. Great starting position for him. And to his outside, the 00 of Jared Mogard. Of course, Mogard won the very first race back of the season at Atlanta Motor Speedway, trying to get another win here tonight on a mile-and-a-half racetrack. Starting on row number 2, we find the number 9 machine of Brandon Stokes. Good qualifying run for Brandon, unfortunately unable to make it into this final round of the playoffs, but starting from the 3rd position, he will have a good seat for the start of this one, and alongside him, the number 35 of Kelsey Rogers. And Kelsey definitely had a couple of tough breaks towards the end of the season and also missed out on the season finale, but there's been quite a lot of pace out of that number 35 this year. Starting on row number 3, we find the number 6 machine, Jared Haggerty, one of your Truck Series contenders. He will roll off from the 5th position, and to his outside, the number 77 of Alex Giese. Right behind him is Mitch Brown, the man going for 3 unique championships. Already won the SMS Cup Series a couple weeks ago, now going for the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck and Premier Series titles tonight, rolling off from the 7th position. To his outside is another Premier Series contender. That is the 41 of Tim Knott in that Splash and Go Graphics Toyota Tundra. Definitely had a lot of pace this season. Starting on row number 5, we find the number 28 machine of Troy Haight, who's had a fairly strong end to the 2019 season. We'll see what he can do from the 9th position here tonight. To his outside, the number 17 machine of Richard Stallings will round out your top 10, Tanner.
Yeah, Jimmy McKee's going to start outside the top 10 here tonight in the 11th spot. Pete Baskins in the 12th position. Jim Foose making his final ASRS start as a driver. He'll roll off in the 13th position here tonight. Cody Speecher is going to roll off in 14th. Jason Stewart in the 15th. Last driver taking qualification time is going to be Steve Bahula in the 16th position. Brian Yazek, surprisingly, doesn't make qualifying time, but I'm sure he's going to be fast. He'll roll off 17th. Sam Maxwell in 18th. And Alan Young, 19th. And the 20th spot, Nick Curling.
Yeah, and right behind him we find the 06 of Jack Wells. Richard Fletcher rolling off from 22nd, making his final Premier Series start here tonight. Ed Bray will roll off from 23rd, and Tyler Seville in the number 11 machine. He's one of your Premier Series contenders. He did not take a qualifying time, so he will roll off from the outside of row number 12. In fact, he will actually move up to 22nd because the number 98 machine, Sam Maxwell, has not gridded. He's an out-of-race admin. Nick Curling will be rolling off shotgun of the 24 car field. We're set to do battle around the high banks of Homestead-Miami Speedway. Pace car lights are off. We're going to get set to go green flag here tonight. Fairly lengthy race, 100 laps, 150 miles, and the green flag has dropped for the 42nd and final ASRS Premier Series race of the 2019 season. So far, everyone pretty good start, Tanner.
Oh yeah, a pretty good start heading down on turn 1 for the first time. 18 to 20 degrees of progressive banking in the corners of the racetrack. A little bit of a correction on myself. Brian Yazek did not take qualification time. That's just because he was sent to the rear of the field, an EOL penalty. So that's one of the reasons why he didn't make a qualification time, which is understandable. But down in turns 3 and 4 for the top spot. Look at this. Side by side for the race lead, you have the number 9 of Brand Stokes with Will Worsler, and Worsler is going to get the first lap lead on the night. He is running and gunning for that championship. Look behind is Stokes and the number 6 of Jared Haggerty. Haggerty going for that top, trying to go for second place, but it looks like that bottom lane is already starting to give away. You see the race leader, Will Worsler, already using up the higher line of the racetrack. Let's see what he does down here. More middle groove. Oh, he's going to go down into the bottom side of the racetrack. Mogard's to the bottom side of the racetrack. Stokes is up high. This is one of the characteristics of Homestead-Miami Speedway with Diamond. Oh, we got a wreck down in the back there. Who rolled down pit road?
Yeah, it's the number 31 machine of Jimmy McKee. You see him, looks like he's got no damage on that. Ooh, a little bit of looks like left front damage on that number 31 machine. We'll see what happened here. No caution here at Homestead-Miami. Ooh, just a little bit too much beans, as our producer would say, and knocked the inside wall. You see that left front damage from that contact, but he's out there still running on the racetrack. No caution.
Probably thinking, why did that not bring out a caution flag? Is because he was off the racing surface underneath the white line, and iRacing does not call the caution if you're off the racing surface below that white line. So you have to keep an eye on that. And I'm seeing some connection issues from the number 35 machine. That is Kelsey Rogers in the middle of the field. He's got a high ping going on right now, so hopefully that calms down as this race goes on, because so far he's running in the top 5 currently. Now it's down to 4/10 of a second here, 3/10 of a second between Mogard and Worsler. Championship drivers, Worsler, Mogard, and Haggerty, 1, 2, 3. 48, I believe I'm getting word, is dropping back. Cody Speecher. He's backed up to 16th, started 14th, and he's on the bottom side of the racetrack. Not the preferred groove right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, Tanner. We see some comers and goers in the field. Alan Young has gained 7 spots from the start. He started 19th, now up to 12th here in the early running. And then Brandon Stokes has now lost 10 position. Remember, we saw maybe something happened to that number 9 machine, because he was up there, just a few laps ago before we started talking about the number 31 of Jimmy McKee. I'm going to have to see if I can go back and see if something happened while we were focusing on McKee's spun out race car, but looks like he might have a little bit of damage. But definitely interesting. I mean, I was going to mention Brandon Stokes had a fantastic start to this race. He was definitely contending with the number 29 of Will Worsler. And yeah, definitely going back and looking at the replay, it looks like Brandon Stokes just got a little bit too high in turns number 1 and 2. And there is a lineup there, Tanner, especially early in the run, that if you hit the bumps that are up there on that high line, it will send you into the wall. And I think that's exactly what happened to that number 9 machine. Just scrubbed off the right side Goodyear lettering on those tires for that number 9 machine. But he is back looking to get up the field once again, but this battle up at the front is brewing quite nicely. The 29 of Will Worsler over at the 00 Jared Mogard. We've seen these two do battle all year long. And what is the 29 of Will Worsler thinking? Almost had the win last week at Phoenix ISM Raceway, and made a last-minute call to come down pit road, gave up a ton of track positions with about 10 laps to go, and could not get that track position back, dominated that race. And I think he's trying to do the same here tonight at Homestead-Miami with a lot of clean air on the nose. And clean air can be very important around this racetrack. Tanner, you and I know that variable banking can make it very frustrating to make a move. So clean air is very important at a track like this.
Clean air is all important. And back to the bumps here at Homestead. It is bumpy at times. If you don't hit the bumps right, it can send you up towards just the wall. And Will Worsler, right now, what is he thinking? I think he's not thinking Phoenix anymore. Or ISM, excuse me. He's not thinking about that anymore. He's thinking about this race. He has to think about this race right now, because right now Mogard is breathing down the neck of Will Worsler. I mean, the top 4 drivers are our championship drivers right now. So, for the truck series. And
So yeah, sorry to cut you off. I mean, we have a side-by-side battle for the race lead, but Lee Staples in the number 26 machine has gone around on the front stretch. There he is. But going back up to this battle for the race lead, the 00 Bogart to the inside of Will Worcester. He's going to make that move into turn number 3, just powers his way down. But here comes Worcester. Worcester coming back. Worcester gets loose. And Worcester has to check up there for a brief moment. So Jared Mogard will take the race lead here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, working now lap number 11, 10 laps down. We have reached the 10% distance in this race. That's pretty simple math. But nonetheless, Jared Mogard has gotten his way to the front, and that's not all too surprising. Mogard, one of the fastest drivers all season long. Let's see if we can dial up a replay here of what happened to Lee Staples. And looks like he just got loose coming out of the corner. And you see Alan Young there in the 24 machine also off the pace. So possibly 2 separate incidents between those two, but still no caution here.
Yeah, I was surprised that didn't bring out a caution for the 26 machine. 24 got loose. Turn 4 seems like to be the nail biter of the night here at Homestead. And surprisingly, the trucks are getting loose. This sounds like the setup of these trucks, because everybody's driving the same setup. It just seems like that the trucks are set up on a loose end, despite the track being really cool, 80 degrees.
Yeah, it kind of is interesting to see that, but I'm not all too surprised because this is a racetrack that can kind of lend itself. Oh, the 28 Troy Haight! Oh. He's going for a ride there, but he saved it. Fantastic save there by Troy Haight. Coming out of turn number 4 once again, and it was interesting to see that graphics that popped up in the right-hand side of your screen. The wind is actually 19 miles per hour, so that does have a play on how these trucks do drive here in the iRacing simulator. So I'm wondering if that could be causing a yawing of these race cars coming out of the corner, and that might be why we're seeing turn 4 be issues.
Jared Haggerty, man, just got loose coming off turn number 4, but he saved it. He's still going straight, and I mean, he's pretty close to Worsler and Mogard, but man, he got loose coming off turn number 4. Turn number 4 seems like the nail biter of the part of the track tonight.
We have another wreck coming out of turn number 4. Richard Fletcher and Ed Bray have both gone around, and this might be a yellow. 47 going backwards on the racetrack, coming back up onto the racetrack right now, and now he's going to get down off onto the apron, but still no caution flag here. Let's see what happened here. 47 Fletcher got loose coming out of turn number 4. And another separate incident. Ed Bray in the 66, completely separate, went around. So turn number 4 proving very treacherous for these drivers. And I can only think possibly that 19 mile per hour wind is possibly causing it. Maybe it's hitting these cars wrong. They're just coming out of turn number 4.
Where is the wind coming from right now? The wind is coming from the east, which is just coming off turn number 4. So so if you get sideways, if you're loose and that's sideways, the wind is coming over the banking, because the north end of the speedway is the start-finish line. So the east is just the banking of turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, very, very interesting. It'll be interesting to see if it catches out any of your championship contenders. Got to make mention that Tyler Seville in the number 11 machine, he's only worked his way up into the 12th position in that Will Worsler racing machine. How about your Dirty Bird Sim Racing drivers? The 41 of Tim Knott, he's currently in 8th. That's where he started. And Jared Haggerty in the number 6 machine, he was running down your top 3, but as of right now has kind of backed off the pace a little bit. That might be to save his rear tires. Of course, we saw him get really loose coming out of turn number 4 just a few laps ago. This is an interesting battle. This is Mitch Brown, another one of those Dirty Bird Sim racers. He's under fire right now from Kelsey Rogers. This is a battle for the 4th position. Rogers on the inside, Brown on the outside as they head down the front stretch. And what about Brian Yazik? Brian Yazik started this race in 17th position, and Tanner, you mentioned it, that he would be working his way up to the front, and that HPV Simulations machine has now worked his way almost into the top 5.
Yeah, that hot rod HPV Simulations Toyota with clipping the apex there I see on that truck. He's coming to the front. As long as I've known Brian, he's been fast. He knows these racetracks, he knows how to hit the marks, and he's so far driven himself up toward close to the top 5, closing in on Kelsey Rogers in the 35. Here we go, battle for the top 5 spot. As he is on the high line, he's in the preferred groove. Now watch him get this launch off the corner exit right here. Right off turn number 2.
Richard Fletcher in the 47 machine has gone around and is smoking coming out of turn number 4 once again. And I think that will end the night for that number 47 machine. That is not what Richard Fletcher wanted to have. And we now have 3 cars on pit road: Alan Young, Richard Fletcher, and Ed Bray, who are not on the racetrack because of this turn number 4. But still no caution.
No caution. There we go. We might get a yellow one. That's going to be a yellow. I was just about to say, I hope the cautions are actually turned on for this session. Otherwise, the race officials might have to throw them, which you can do. So, but here we go. There's the first caution of the race. Let's see what happened coming off turn 4.
Yeah, that's Pete Baskins in the number 3 machine going back on the replay. He was back behind Troy Haight. We've seen Troy Haight have some issues coming out of turn number 4. But yeah, kind of the same thing happened. Just got sideways. Tried to save that number 3 machine. Came up in front of, I think, the 06 machine of Jack Wells there. And Jack Wells barely missed that spinning number 3 machine. But similar to what we've seen all night long there.
You know, his back bumper says it all. Fear is a liar. And man, that was a hold your breath moment for Jack Wells.
Yeah, might need a new pair of underwear in that 06 machine. Jack Wells currently running in the 15th position here. We only have 20 cars on the lead lap, and Pete Baskins has a significant amount of damage, so I believe he might fall 1 lap down. So we might only be left with 19 cars on the lead lap here, working the 20% race distance. There's Tim Knott currently in the 8th position, I do believe, as all these leaders are on pit road as we speak. In fact, that number 41 machine, I'm getting word that Tim Knott has actually slid back into 17th position. What happened to him? While all these leaders are on pit road, I'm gonna do a little bit of investigatory work. Oh, well, we'll let these all these pit stops play out, but I do have an update on Tim Knott's situation. But all these leaders are on pit road getting 4 fresh tires, and I'm sure a lot of these drivers will be happy to see 4 fresh tires on their machines after how slippery it has been. But look at the 35, Kelsey Rogers going into the outside wall there on pit road. That doesn't detract from the fact that Jared Mogard will be the first truck off pit road. Will Wurzler second, Jared Haggerty third, Brian Yazik fourth, and Mitch Brown rounds out your top 5. But Kelsey Rogers shot straight up into the wall there coming off pit road. Looks like he doesn't appear to have any damage. I wonder perhaps if that's just some of the warp that we've seen out of that number 35 machine here tonight with some of his connection issues. Not 100% sure. But just want to say that Tim Knott, about 5 laps ago, he got loose out of turn number 4. Same thing as what we've seen throughout the field, and we weren't focusing on it because we were obviously focusing on something else, but that number 41 machine coming out of turn number 4 on lap number 17 got really loose. He was underneath the 77 of Alex Giese. We're seeing if we can line this. There we go. Right there, you can see him get loose. He locked it up. Fantastic job of just locking up the wheels of that number 41 machine, not hitting the inside wall. There was no caution for this. It wasn't for a few laps later that the caution actually came out. But same thing happened, got loose, and he is the first one of your championship contenders contending for the Premier Series title to have any type of trouble here tonight. He's out there on the racetrack with 4 fresh tires, and it'll be interesting to see exactly where he will line up once the field has all shaken out under this caution flag. But man, it looks absolutely crazy out there tonight, Tanner. But let's see if we can dial up one of your championship contenders. Let's see if we can pull someone in here into the booth. Let's see if we can let's see if we can dial up the 41 of Tim Knott. I'd be interested to see what he has to say about this racetrack here tonight. Tim Knott, Peter Short in the 3Y TV booth. You got a copy?
I sure do. How are you guys?
Doing pretty good, and man, I would say that you know, this race probably hasn't quite gone to plan, but at least you've probably learned the limits out there. Going for a slide there just a few laps ago, it looks really, really treacherous. We've seen a lot of trucks have issues. What's it driving like?
Yeah, I just pushed it a little too hard on that one. I knew it was bad out there, but you know, I'm trying as hard as I can.
Well, it's interesting to see that the wind here tonight might be causing that issue with wind gusts up to about 20 miles per hour coming out of turn number 4. So hopefully you've learned the boundaries of that number 41 machine and you can start moving up through the field once again.
Yeah, we're just going to take our time and be careful. It's the main thing to finish.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, we'll let you get back to it. Pace car lights are off. We're going to get set to go back to green, but best of luck.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Well, that is driver of the number 41 machine. And definitely, I think, Tanner, you might have heard maybe a little bit of disappointment in the voice of Tim there after having that spin.
Yeah, but you can't give up. I mean, you don't really have any damage on that 41 machine. So, I mean, you just got to keep moving forward and make sure try not to get loose again. I've been seeing drivers really getting loose the more they run that middle groove of the racetrack. So pace cars head down pit road right now. It's all Jared Mogard on the inside row. He's the race leader in the 00. We're back, green flag racing. The top 3 drivers right now, Mogard, Worsler, and Haggerty, are championship contending drivers for the truck series portion of the stuff. The red banner means Premier and truck, and the yellow means just the truck, I believe.
Yeah, and for Jared Mogard as well as Mitch Brown, the red banner actually kind of sits over the yellow banner because both of those drivers are contending for both championships here tonight, and they can win both. So that is going to be an interesting storyline. Of course, with Mogard leading this race, he would, as of right now, as this race stands, be both your Premier and Truck Series champion, currently leading the way here.
Look at this. Brian Yazek going underneath Will Worsler, trying to contend for 3rd spot down the back straightaway. Riding on board with Kelsey Rogers as we look at that battle for 3rd between Yazek, who's on the bottom, Worsler on the high side. And man, look at Worsler use up that middle groove of the racetrack. Really dove it in in 3 really hard to get in front of Yazek to get that run. And boy, he sure did. And so Yazek backs up the 4th, Worsler in 3rd. And now these drivers, I'm seeing Will Worsler mainly using the higher side of the racetrack, while a lot of the drivers are still content to bottom to middle groove in this early portion of the run.
Yeah, but Jared Haggerty has moved up into the 2nd position. And what about this guy here, the number 9 machine, Brandon Stokes?
Brandon Stokes in the number 9. He fell back early, but now he's coming back. He's in the 7th position after starting 3rd. Had a good start to the race, but fell back. Had some right front damage, but I think they patched that up on pit road a little bit the best they could. And he's battling with the number 51 machine of Mitch Brown, who's a championship contender.
Yeah, Mitch Brown up there on the high side of that number 51 Patriot machine, trying to move forward if he can, but Brandon Stokes definitely doing a battle there for the 6th position. In fact, I think that number 9 machine is going to take it here in turn number 3. Will do so, and will slide up in front of Mitch Brown. So move Mitch Brown back into the 7th position. Kelsey Rogers is now the next truck in front of Brandon Stokes. Remember, Stokes was up near the front early in the going, but slid all the way back to around the 13th position and making a very good recovery here just outside the top 5. In fact, that number 9 machine has been very, very quick out there on the racetrack. Last time by was definitely one of the fastest race trucks, a little bit faster than Kelsey Rogers in front of him. So keep an eye on that number 9 machine as this race goes on.
Number 17, Richard Stallings, may have clipped the apron a little bit in 3 and 4. He's got doing a side-by-side battle, or was, to Alex Giese. Giese right next to the outside wall might get that run off on the number 17. So far, nothing yet. Here's the number 11, Tyler Sawville. We were mentioning him earlier tonight, going for that Premier Championship. Berkey Pints Toyota.
Yeah, we got some side-by-side action now for a top 5 position. Kelsey Rogers is under siege by the number 9 of Brandon Stokes, and there is a little bit of right front damage to that number 9 machine. We highlighted that earlier, as looks like Stokes is going to get a good run here through the center of turn number 2, or turns number 1 and 2, I should say, but Kelsey Rogers fights back on the outside. Now, we have seen drivers able to really dive it off into turn number 3 and make it stick, and that is what we see here once again. Brandon Stokes doing that over the number 35 machine. So move Brandon back up into the top 5, which is where he started this race. Started in the 3rd position, now back up into 5th. And, of course, Brian Yazik started 17th, now running in 4th. And that 4-truck gaggle up at the front between Mogard, Haggerty, Will Worcester, and Yazik is a good one. Good battle up there as we see Jack Wells in the 31, McKee do battle.
Oh, yeah, these drivers are just now settling in. The tires are starting to wear off now, and now it's time to pick your line to see where you're going to run on the racetrack. I'm seeing a lot of the front runners currently. It's still multi-groove racing between the front runners. Worcester high, middle groove, Haggerty, and Yazik bottom. So that's multi-groove racing right there. Some drivers in the mid-pack to back of the pack are still trying to run the bottom. Some are trying to run the middle groove, and some are trying to run the high side. So it's getting to that point where the drivers are trying to find their part of the track where they're going to be running good at as this run goes on.
Yeah, definitely Brian Yazik trying to get that low line to work, but unable to do so. I mean, we've already seen how loose it is coming out of turn number 4 here, but you're definitely going to have a lot of throttle modulations coming out of the corner there to try and make that. As Jared Mogard actually blinked out there for just a brief moment, and he threw some sparks there, and Mogard's blinking out once again, so a little bit of connection issues from your race leader and Premier Series championship contender right in front of Will Worcester, as Worcester's actually made the move on Haggerty. Haggerty going to do the over-under here, and Haggerty's looks like he's going to slot back in behind the number 29. You see your race leader's blinked out once again. There he is, back on the racetrack. That's going to be a little bit disconcerting for your race leader.
As a competitor on the racetrack and someone else is blinking, it can be a huge distraction to you, man. I mean, you don't know where that guy's going to end up, and netcode is a big-time possibility. So you're always nervous around the driver who is blinking on the racetrack. But looks like it's stabilized for the time being. But Will Worcester up to the 2nd spot. And Yazik took a look on Haggerty, but nothing we got caution on the Speedway.
Caution on the Speedway, and Steve Puhala in the number 43 machine is coming off the outside wall here on the front stretch in the number 43 machine. We'll see if we can get a replay here. Yeah, just went around there in turn number 4, made heavy contact, and this is Steve Puhala's last run in a Jim Foose Motorsports machine, and we'll see if he had any help. No, it doesn't look like it. Looks like it just very similar accident to what we've seen here tonight, that Hulco Intercon Toyota Tundra pretty hard into the outside wall there coming out of turn number 4.
Crazy. It looked like that truck wasn't looked like that wasn't going to be a caution due to how many instances we've seen off turn number 4, but this brings up the 2nd caution of the night on lap 35. We're on lap 37, coming to 38. Leaders have collected the pace car in the back straightaway, and one great thing about Homestead-Miami Speedway, in my opinion, is that for entering pit road, you have to take the pathways. Otherwise, iRacing itself does black flag you, the access roads. So that's in and out of the pit road. So it's a cool thing to have on the sim. Mogard leading the way towards pit road. I'm still banking on the 4-tire pit stops. I think that was too much of a green flag run to even take 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they had about 16 laps on their tires here coming down onto pit road. I'm sure there'll be 4 fresh tires here for everyone up and down the field. It looks like we do have one driver staying out there on the racetrack. The 06 of Jack Welsh tries to lead a lap. Of course, he's not one of your championship contenders, but that 06 does stay out, but was unable to get to the first position at the stripe. So it looks like he might have to wait another lap to see if he leads a lap. But nonetheless, all your leaders are on pit road. We'll see if the 00 of Mogard can hold his position here on pit lane. And you see already the 55 of Brian Yazik there moving, and looks like Mogard will win that race off pit road. Looks like the number 29, Will Worcester, will come out 2nd, Haggerty 3rd, Yazik in 4th. So pretty much everyone holding their position off pit road, including Brandon Stokes, your 5th car off pit road. He was the 5th car onto pit road, or 5th truck, I should say. But here we are working our 2nd caution of the night. Fastest lap so far held by the number 29 of Will Worcester. No big surprise there. He was your pole sitter at the start of tonight's race. But Jared Mogard is being scored as your race leader. Looks like he will actually pass the 06 of Jack Wells here before the start-finish line as well, so he will not lose a lap led. But that doesn't really matter here tonight. It's all about where you finish. the highest placed driver in the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series playoffs and the Premier Series playoffs will be the champion of those respective series. But Tanner, why don't you dial up one of the championship contenders? Is there anyone you want to talk to?
Yeah, let's try. Let's dial up one of the championship contenders, 00, Jared Mogard.
Well, I don't think he's actually in
he's not in here?
Yeah, I don't think he's on the Discord here.
Let's
So
dial
I don't
up
think we can dial him up.
Will Worsler. Let's give him a shot.
Always a good one to talk to.
Will Worsler, Tanner Sharpen, 3Y TV booth. You get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, it seems like it's fun out there, but can be frustrating at times because as the tires wear off, it seems like it's hard to pass. This is a multi-groove racetrack. How is that truck feeling here tonight? It seems like you got a lot of grip at the start of it, but it seems like it kind of goes away and you're kind of stuck into a position and it gets loose off of turn 4. What is that number 29 machine feeling?
Yeah, this is for whatever reason, this is completely different from all the testing I did. It's really tight in 2 and looser off of 4, so it's just something that it seems like everybody, at least the people I've talked to, are dealing with. So it's just something we're gonna have to deal with, and we got the first half of this race to get it figured out, and second half to show how much we figured out, I guess.
Yeah, you come to collect the 1 to green right now. Real quick, how's the racing been up towards the front? Because you're surrounded by championship contenders and a fast Brian Yazik, Brandon Stokes. How's it feeling up there in the top 5?
It's Mogard's fast, obviously. Haggerty's fast. Yazik, like you said, it's really tough, man. It's tough conditions to race under, and it's one of these deals where one of these guys or myself makes one little mistake, we can wad everybody's truck up. So it's just going to be one of those nights. We'll have to see how it unfolds.
All right. Well, we'll let you go so you can go back green flag racing here in about half a lap.
Thanks, man.
That is Will Worsler in the number 29 Slice Toyota Porcupines on the side of the truck. I sense a little frustration, Peter, out of the 29 camp group due to the track conditions mainly, not due to the racing that he's racing with, but the track conditions and how well that truck is changing as the run goes on.
Yeah, it is very interesting. I mean, we kind of heard just how intense it is with him racing those other championship contenders, and the intensity is about to pick up once again as pace car is down onto pit road, and the 00 of Jared Mogard on the loud pedal once again pulls ahead of that number 29 machine as Will Worsler is side by side with Jared Haggerty for the second position. And I think Haggerty's going to take it here, going off into turn number 1. That number 6 machine is going to inch away up into the second position.
Boy, Yazik thought about going underneath 29, but the 9 truck was there, man. That's Brandon Stokes. Look at him coming. Diving into turn number 3, trying to get underneath 29. Will Worsler, they're going to split Worsler 3 wide here. This is going to be a crazy doozy-woozy off of turn number 4, 3 wide. Oh, and we got a battle for the top spot as well. Here comes Haggerty with a tremendous run off of turn number 4.
And looks like the number 29 machine of Will Worsler is going to slot into the 3rd position, at least for now. Crazy action here up the front. That number 29 machine pushes up the racetrack.
That was a mistake.
In the center of turn number 1 and 2. And he's going to come back under fire from Brandon Stokes as that battle for the race lead calms down here just for a brief moment. The battle now for the 3rd position. The number 9 is Stokes on the inside, 29 and Will Worsler on the outside. What can Worsler do? He's not able to hold on to that position. Stokes is going to pull up in front, and now here comes the 55 of Brian Yazik. We've seen that number 55 march through the field here tonight from 17th up to 5th in the first 40 laps, but we are getting close here, Tanner, to the halfway distance at Homestead-Miami.
These cats are all over the place, and we haven't even yet reached the halfway distance yet. We're on lap 43. We got eight laps until that halfway point on lap 50. But the race right now, the first side-by-side battles between Worsler and Yazik. I do believe Worsler does have the preferred lane, in my opinion. We'll see how this plays out for Yazik. Brandon Stokes, Haggerty going for the lead. A little bit of a bumper tap on the straightaway. Give him a little shove to push him forward. Haggerty under attack from Haggerty, but cannot complete the pass because Mogard is in the preferred line as the run goes on, it looks like, on the higher side of the racetrack.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to make a move on that inside groove. Like you mentioned in the pre-race, there's less banking down there on the inside, so you just don't have as much grip as the car to the outside. It is the shortest way around the racetrack, which tends to help, but coming out of the corner especially, down there, the lack of banking just causes your truck to push, and that is what that number 6 machine of Haggerty is fighting as he tries to get around the 00 of Mogart. But we're getting close to the halfway distance, and the battle for the fourth position is still hot. This 55 of Yazik still to the inside of Warsler, but Warsler going to hold on here for now, working through turn number 3 and 4. And let's not count out that number 6 of Haggerty. He's getting some really good runs, Tanner, out of turn number 4. And is able to close in on Mogart down the front straightaway, just hasn't been able to make the move.
Yeah, I mean, every time he gets some runs out of turn 4, and we've seen it as the run goes on, drivers getting that run out of the corner exit, mainly off the high side, but Haggerty's found something in 4 that's allowing him to get that run on Mogart to battle for that top spot, but it seems like he loses it down in turn number 2. We did, when we talked to Bill Warsler, it's tight off turn 2, but it's loose off turn 4, and when it's loose, it's fast.
And here is the 6 of Haggerty, pulls down below the 00 here on the front stretch. Unable to do anything just yet, though. He's getting such a good run, Tanner, out of turn number 4. It's really impressive what that number 6 can do. But that number 9 of Brandon Stokes, I think that Haggerty had to check up just a little bit as to not get into the rear bumper of the 00, and that gave Stokes an opportunity to make the pass, and he's trying to make the most of it down there on the inside groove. We'll see how this all works out for that number 6, but this is not what Haggerty wants to see. He's now coming out of turn number 4, going to hold on to that position with that good run he's getting out of there. But very, very impressive run by Brandon Stokes. Remember, early on in the race, qualified up near the front, dropped all the way back to 13th position, and slowly but surely marched his way forward.
This is classic truck racing here at Homestead, and you can find it here on iRacing because the American Sim Racing Series is doing an excellent job on their competition, the racing. It is very fun to watch because multi-groove racing on iRacing Dynamic Tracks is producing all this. This is very entertaining up towards the front, trying to figure out how you're going to get by your competitor. Like Stokes is trying to get by Haggerty, Haggerty's trying to get by Mogart, Yazik's trying to get by Warsler. Battles all over the place in that top 5, and we've been green for what, almost 10 laps now?
Yeah, Brandon Stokes making that good move now. Stokes up into the 2nd position now, but Haggerty says, hey, buddy, not so fast. I won that position back. Going to dive to the inside here, going off into contact around, and Will barely squeaks through, and Stokes has spun around, caution flag in the air here at Homestead-Miami, and somehow that wasn't catastrophic.
Yeah, that's, man, I wonder how Will felt after that, but as you can see, down turns 3 and 4, it looked like Haggerty wanted that middle groove, but Brandon looked like he wanted the middle to high groove, and Haggerty just drifted up the track just a little bit, and it just clipped the left rear quarter panel of Brandon Stokes, and man, if we can get on board of Will Warsler, he just had a heart attack because he's run for a championship and almost got tagged and rear-ended by Brian Yazik. Wow.
Yeah, that was unbelievable driving there amongst pretty much everyone in the whole field. Yeah, I mean, you can say the same thing for Brandon Stokes. I know Brandon was the one who got spun around, but there was no further damage after that contact. He was able to keep it off the inside wall. And ladies and gentlemen, this is going at 160 miles an hour when that number 9 machine got tagged. So it's not like he's, just going 7 miles an hour down the highway. No, it's 160 miles an hour, and that number 9 machine did a fantastic job of getting it slowed up. Oh boy, look at that. Number 55 of Brian Yazik slamming on the binders to stay off the back of the number 29 of Will Warsler. And it's very interesting to see that out of Brian Yazik. Maybe possibly a little bit of neck code might have helped him. I don't know if there was actual contact between those two, but all your leaders on pit road, and they're off and running again. It looks like it will be the 00 Jared Mogart winning the race off pit road.
Looks like everybody in the same position came in pit road, came out of pit road, with the exception of the number 9 of Brian Stokes. But man, he's all right. I don't think there's any apparent severe damage to that number 9 machine. Maybe a little bit on the right front, but it's enough to get taken care of, and hopefully we can get back on out there and try to get that back. I mean, we're past halfway, but a lot of laps to get back up towards the front.
And there is Jared Haggerty, who has been deemed at fault for that accident and has a end of longest line penalty. And Tanner, that is going to move one of your Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series championship contenders all the way to the end of the longest line in this field for this next restart. and you can see him losing all of those positions, but that's because he was deemed at fault for that contact, which ultimately spun the number 9 machine. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not he's able to recover for that. And what about Brandon Stokes? It'll be interesting to see if he can recover from this. He's already recovered from one hiccup early in the race, but now he's kind of going to have to restart at the back and or get his way through the field once again. We'll see what happens here.
Let's bring up Jared. Yeah, maybe we can bring up Jared Haggerty if you do. You have this, Peter? Or?
Yeah, I can see what I can do. Let's see if I can drag the number 6 machine. Jared Haggerty, Peter Short in the 3-wide TV booth. I know you're kind of mired back there in the pack now after that end of longest line penalty. I know probably not what you wanted to have happen, but what's your strategy for getting your way back up to the front?
We'll get through the front. We've been pretty much one of the top three fastest trucks on the whole time. So, I mean, I think we'll be okay again. Top 3 fastest truck all day. So, yeah.
Well, it definitely seems like, like you said, you've had a very, very fast race truck out there tonight. It's typical Homestead. It seems very, very difficult to kind of make the move, especially after a couple of laps. A lot of hard racing up there at the front. Is that just that kind of accident that you had? It's kind of liking that just to what Homestead is as a racetrack.
Yeah, it was just good, hard racing. I already spoke to Brandon a little bit. No harm, no foul. Again, we're just going to try to mind our P's and Q's. I'm going to try to get to the front the best I can right here, and hopefully we can pull out a championship. We've just made our chances a lot more difficult.
Well, hopefully you can work your way up forward. Good to hear that both you and the 9 have kind of made reparations between each other, but good driving on both of y'all's part to not make that any worse. But we'll let you get back to it, and best of luck here working your way back up through the field.
Yep, 10-4, guys.
All right, well, that is Jared Haggerty, driver of the number 6 machine. Of course, one of your Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series championship contenders here tonight. It will be the highest finisher out of the 4. And let's see if we can, for those of you just joining, let's see if we can pull up that graphic quickly of your contenders here for the 2 championships before we go back to Green Flag Racing. There they are. You see Mitch Brown, Jared Haggerty, Jared Bogart, and Will Worcester going for that Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series championship, and the 4 names on the top going for the Premier Series championship. But we're about to go back to Green Flag action. 47 laps to go here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, and Jared Bogart looking for those 2 championships as your race leader is already on the loud pedal. Good restart for him, and the number 29, Will Worcester, is going to slot up into the 2nd position. Now your 3rd position is going to change. It's actually going to go into the hands of the number 55, Yazek, but Kelsey Rogers says not so fast.
Kelsey Rogers has been in the top 5 majority of this race, and he's hanging with the cats up front pretty good. That last run, he wasn't battling with them, but he was keeping them, in target close enough, at least 0.5 of a second. So Rogers knows he's got a top 5 car. It's just a matter on having that track position, having that line, and seeing how that truck is going to do on that long run. Right now, he's looking pretty stout right now on that higher side of the racetrack, battling Brian Yazek for the 3rd position.
Yeah, Kelsey's been fast all season long in that number 35 truck, and as has Yazek. I mean, Yazek's had some terrible luck as of late, especially late in the race. That HPP simulations machine has been so fast, just hasn't seemed to be able to close it out, and pretty much not of his own doing either. It seems like he's always involved in someone else's melee right towards the end of these races. But here we have a side-by-side battle. 2 Premier Series championship contenders doing battle. That's the number 11 of Tyler Seville on the high side, Will Worcester Racing Machine, and the Dirty Bird Sim Racing number 51 of Mitch Brown, trying to go for 3 championships this season in the American Sim Racing Series on the inside. This is a battle for the 5th position between these 2 trucks, and it looks like Tyler Seville is going to hold on around the outside and actually take that 5th position.
Oh, car in the wall. Oh, big wreck. Huge wreck.
It's the 6th of Jared Haggerty, and that is not what he wanted to have happen. That is absolute heartbreak for one of your Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series contenders right back there at the back of the pack. And the 31 of Jimmy McKee involved as well. Hard contact with the inside wall.
The 48 hit the wall off of turn number 2 on the back straight. It was okay, and he got into the wall again right here. You'll see the 48, the red truck, right into the outside wall, loose. But there was more contact though between Haggerty and McKee. You see, everybody's trying to kind of dip below a little bit. That's about 4 wide just before the contact happened. and 31 moved down the door to 6, and they both go spinning. And the 6 gets T-boned from Jack Wells. Jack Wells, that's very unfortunate for Jack. Very unfortunate for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, and that's an interesting one because the 48 of Cody Spiker hit the wall, and the number 9 machine of Brandon Stokes kind of comes down the racetrack to avoid it. And I want to say the 31 of McKee, like you said, Tanner. It looks like maybe a little bit of contact there with Tim Knott in the 41 machine. And when they went 4 wide, I think Brandon Stokes kind of reacted. I think Jimmy McKee reacted, and Jared Haggerty kind of just held his line a little bit, and there was that contact between the two just because of that 48 machine getting into the wall. So that is going to be an interesting one because, I mean, obviously that number 6 machine is pretty heavily damaged. That will pretty much do it for Jared Haggerty, I'm sure, unless he had a lot of luck go his way. But interesting call there to make by the in-race officials as to point the blame on that one. Kind of looks like a racing deal, but for this man right there, the number 6 Cheerwine Toyota Tundra, definitely getting kind of roughed up here as one of your championship contenders in the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series. But a little bit of a strategy call perhaps out of the number 51 machine of Mitch Brown. He's going to be the first truck off pit road.
Tim Knott.
Tim Knott as well in the 41 machine. Yes, also taking 2 tires. So the Dirty Bird Sim Racing teams electing to have 2 drivers take 2 tires in the number 1 machine, excuse me. Jason Stewart has stayed out on the racetrack. So Jason Stewart is your race leader here. And he only has about 9 laps on his tires, probably only about 5 or 6 green flag laps on those tires. So it's going to be interesting to see this here, Tanner, of whether or not this is a good call or not. You and I know that usually taking 2 tires loosens up your race car. We have heard that it's pretty slippery coming out of turn number 4. That is something that the 51 of Mitch Brown and Tim Knott will have to keep an eye on.
Yep, they would have no choice to keep an eye on. I mean, I would rather have done it now. I mean, normally I would do it in the beginning of the race, but here, I mean, if this was at the end of the race, I would say, oh, they're going to get eaten up by guys with 4 tires. But so far, this is the call that they've made, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But they have to be aware of turn 4. If they can get off turn 4 just fine as the run goes on, it should be okay. The tires should even themselves out, but. This is definitely a gamble call for Tim Knott's part too, because Tim Knott wasn't even really towards up in the top 5. He was mainly mid-pack. Wasn't really going up or down or anywhere. But Mitch Brown's he was in the top 10, but wasn't really going headed up towards the top 5 with the drivers. So these guys are taking a gamble call. They're going for a championship, the Premier Series championship. Got to make something happen.
Absolutely, and. While we're under caution here, I do want to give a shout out to the chat. We've had a very active chat here tonight. Jeff Brown, Doug Mullins, Jay Crable, Timothy Austin, of course, Nikki Worsler in the chat, Fernando Matos out there as well, and then some other names as well. So definitely, if you're in the chat right now, make yourself heard. Give us a shout out here on 3 Wide TV. We thank you for watching tonight's broadcast. It's the championship race for the American Sim Racing Series for both the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series and the Sam Maxwell Customs Premier Series in the aptly named Sam Maxwell Customs Homestead 150. 100 laps around this 100 laps around this 150-mile racetrack? No, it's not a 150-mile racetrack. It's a 1.5-mile racetrack. I can't do math here tonight. What do you know? But we do have 40 laps to go. That's 60 miles for the quick thinkers out there. And there are your championship contenders. Jared Mogard, Tim Knott, Mitch Brown, Joseph Seville going for the Premier Series title. Mitch Brown, Jared Haggerty, Jared Mogard, and Will Works are going for the Truck Series title. And Jared Haggerty in the number 6 machine under this last accident came into a little bit of trouble. In fact, last 2 cautions, and that's what can happen, Tanner, when you're mired in the back of the pack.
Yeah, you know, you have a fast truck, and I've always said this: qualifying trim is always going to be different than race trim because anything can happen in race trim. Things like that, you know, you get an ELL for causing an incident. You're in the back of the pack. You're back in traffic. Something happens in front of you, and I topped that at the top of the show. Anything can happen right in front of you, and all of a sudden, you're involved in it. So that's something you always got to be aware of when you're in the back of the pack like that. Just try to take it easy and try not to bum rush up towards front, even though we're coming down to it. There's still plenty of laps to get going. But look at this, Jason Stewart, who's I think he stayed out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Stayed out, and against 2 tires, here comes Mitch Brown on the bottom in the 51. Tim Knott, and the tires ain't working out for the number 1 machine. 3 wide off turn 2. Gosh, that's tight and hairy. Oh, down to turn number 3 now. We're all double file racing. And now here comes a fresh tire fast, guys. Look at Brian Yazik, dipped to the bottom of the side of the racetrack there. He's trying to go after Tim Knott on 2 tires. And Mogard in the 00 is kind of stuck. He's in a box. He can't get to the inside. He can't go any forward. He can't run the guy over in front of you. So right now, the outside though, now it's opened up. Now he can probably get that huge run off turn number 2 and take advantage of this whole situation, which he will. But we're 3 wide down the back straightaway. We're taking Tim Knott 3 wide since he's on 2 tires. Down into the corner. Looks like Yazik had to back off just a little bit. He just had to. Side by side for second place.
Yeah, I was going to say that was interesting. If I was Tim Knott, man, I was going to try and right that high line, keep the 00 boxed in like you had said, but he ran just a little bit lower on the racetrack, allowed Mogard to just move up the racetrack just a smidgen, and you can definitely see those 4 tires starting to be a little bit advantageous coming out of turn number 2. Tim Knott got a little bit close to Mogard, but Mogard's just going to power out of the corner with that larger radius there on that high groove, just kept his momentum up and will slide up into the 2nd position. Ooh, Brian Yazik now right behind the 41 of Tim Knott as Tim Knott tries to hold on to the 3rd position, but Yazik has been so fast all night long.
Oh man, this is every driver's. If you're on 4 fresh drivers, it's every driver's nightmare. All right, I'm racing a guy with 2 tires or 0 tires, whatever tires he's on, any driver's on, and it's loose off turn 4. Now now it's getting down to it. The possibility of the guy on the older wear tires, he might get loose and spin out. And, he doesn't have that grip. And right there, 41, just right there, just what I was talking about. It's just frustrating as a guy who was on 4 tires, but Tim Knott, he's trying to go for a championship. He's trying to do everything he can, but he got loose there, and he saves the truck.
Yeah,
right
fantastic.
Now, it's battle for the lead.
Fantastic save from Tim Knott in that number 41 machine to make that and not collect any other race trucks in it. Just was able to keep his head cool, backed out of the throttle, kept that number 41 going down the road as he needs to, because, it's not all said and done. We still have 35 laps to go. We could have another couple cautions. Things do happen. One thing leads to other. We do have the potential for green-white check, but that was a fantastic save out of the 41 of Tim Knott. But what about the number 51 of Mitch Brown up there, currently leading this thing on 2 tires? He does have the 00 of Jared Mogard closing in on him, but last time by there was hardly any gap between the race leader and the 2nd place at 00. Of course, Mitch Brown, we have seen what Mitch Brown has done in the SMS Cup Series side of things. He did everything he could to win that title and ruffled a few feathers doing so. Well, now he's up at the front here. I'm sure he is going to block like a madman if Mogard gets a run on him. And let's not count out Brian Yazik in the number 55 machine, because he's slowly but surely closing in on these top 2. And now that Mitch Brown has the race lead, we've seen how difficult it is to pass here tonight, Tanner, and I think that might be what Mitch is thinking about. If he can hold on to that lead, stay to the outside, and just pinch Mogard down to the inside, he might be able to thwart any type of run that Mogard gets.
You could, Peter, but here's the problem. He's on 2 tires, and he doesn't have the maneuverability to move around the racetrack like Mogard can, and you can pinch him down, but as the tires fall off, as the green flag goes on, he's going to lose that grip, and Mogard's going to eventually find a way to get around him just due to the tires. Right now, he's banking on the caution. If the caution came right now, it would put Mitch Brown in a position, and Will Worcester got loose off of turn number 4, but it puts Mitch Brown in a position to win this race up towards the front in cleaner if he had 4 fresh tires, should a caution come out. That was the same idea with Tim Knott. Look at Mogard dipping to the bottom right now. All Mitch Brown can do right now is use the high line in 1 and 2. Looks like he's using the middle groove in 3 and 4. Mogard's like, I'm on fresher tires. I still believe I can still get around him. But here comes Yazik. The more this battle keeps playing out, Yazik keeps inching closer and closer, as you see on screen, to Mogard's back bumper. 35, Kelsey Rogers in the wall.
Yeah, there might have been a little bit of contact there with the number 29 of Will Worsler as well, but unfortunately Rogers is in the outside wall, but this is what the number 51 of Mitch Brown wanted to see. Now side-by-side action behind him between Mogard and Yazik. Don't count out that number 55 HPV Simulations Toyota Tundra looking to get to victory lane. I think Brian Yazik wants to get to victory lane probably more so than any other driver in this field because he's been so fast over the last few weeks. And look at this now, side by side for that race lead with Mitch Brown, working that inside groove. And Jaron Mogard, what's he going to do? He's going to see if he can follow the 55 through here, down on the inside groove coming out of turn number 2.
Yazik's got a strong truck to have that on the bottom side of the racetrack. I thought Mogard was really going to try to get around Mitch Brown, but looks like they're going to get around Brown right now. Mogard still can. He can't just wash up the... I mean, he's going to wash up the racetrack, but he has to try to avoid that left rear quarter panel of Mitch Brown. Mitch Brown's... the exits are really helping Brown, but the entrances and the middle part of the racetrack is really hurting him. The exits are fine. He can get that launch off corner exit. But here's Yazik to the lead.
Yeah, great run there coming onto turn number 2 by that number 55 HPP Simulations Toyota Tundra. And that isn't really the battle for the championship. It's the battle for the championship right behind him between Mogard and Mitch Brown as it stands right now. But this will definitely be a good thing for that number 55 machine. Possibly are we seeing a turnaround of luck? A turnaround of fortune for the number 55 as Mogard once again goes underneath the 51 Mitch Brown, unable to make that pass stick just yet. And you can just see the 51 of Mitch Brown pull ahead coming out of the corner. And of course, it's going to be a little bit interesting here now that the 51 has a little bit of draft down the straightaways on that higher group because he can kind of use that 51 as a, or excuse me, the 55 as a toe in front of him down these straightaways. So that's kind of in the favor of Mitch Brown, at least for now, but Yazik's starting to check out of it.
Oh yeah, and he's checked out, but Mogard is still, I'm surprised by this. Mogard's still...
Oh, Will Worsler!
Oh, Worsler got loose off turn 2.
Yeah, wow. That was a big save there out of that number 29 machine as we have a side-by-side battle for the second position. You see this replay here of the number 29 machine, but can report live, Jaron Mogard has made the pass on Mitch Brown in turn number 3 and 4. We'll see this on the 3-wide TV replay. Just dive to the inside. Mitch Brown left a lot of bottom open, and the double zero just cut him off there coming out of turn number 4. So Mogard's now up into the second position. I think he had started to notice Will Worsler starting to creep in on him until Worsler had made that mistake. So I think Mogard had realized now was the time to make the move. There's the number 31 of Jimmy McKee down there on the access road to pit lane. Jimmy McKee currently 4 laps down, still running around the racetrack.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like the tires are starting to settle in right now. I'm still shocked Mitch Brown up there. I mean, he's doing everything he can, and he's in the top 3 right now. So should a caution come out, this puts him in a position on the track. That pit stop, that 2 tires pit stop, put him there. And Will Worsler so far hanging on to the 4th position after having a couple of exciting moments here in this race. Right behind him is Richard Stallings. Oh, car loose! Brand Stokes hard into the wall! Turn 4, caution!
Oh, and that's taken out one of your championship contenders. And oh, still drivers piling in. The 35, Kelsey Rogers, perhaps there. But we have a couple of championship contenders that this affects, including that man right there, the number 11 of Tyler Seville and the 41 of Tim Knott. Oof, jeez, wow, 35 of Kelsey Rogers. Absolutely clobbering into the number 9 machine. And remember, Kelsey Rogers was up near the front, but had some contact with Will Worsler, and I think that had affected that number 35 machine. See the number 9 spinning around there. There's Tim Knott. Looks like maybe not too much damage on the 41 machine. Remember, he took 2 tires under the last pit stop, but that number 11 machine is completely smoking, and he's coming to pit lane as we speak, and that will be, unfortunately, the end of the championship, I do believe, for Tyler Seville. His Premier Series championship will most likely go no further unless that crew works absolute miracles.
You're going to have to laugh, yeah, and I don't think that pit crew is going to have the absolute miracle for that slice machine. in that number 11 group, guys. But I'll tell you what, the leaders are on pit road, and they're all trying to get 4 fresh stickers on their trucks. Yazik, he's out, he's away, and he's just gonna he has to beat Worsler and Mogard right here, and he will officially. And I do believe Worsler got 3rd over Mitch Brown.
We'll have to see how iRacing scores that one. It was definitely very, very tight between those two. I don't know which line there. There's a couple of lines coming out of pit road, and I'm not sure which one iRacing uses to score the position. As of right now, the 51 is being scored in 3rd on the racetrack. Doesn't look like the 29 got that, but it was very, very tight, Tanner, coming off pit road. But the number 51 of Mitch Brown will be scored in the 3rd position, according to the iRacing timing and scoring. Brian Yazik, your race leader. Jared Mogard in 2nd, Mitch Brown 3rd, Will Worsler 4th, and Jared Haggerty. What about him in that number 9 machine? Checking to see if Haggerty took 2. He did take 2. So interesting call on the behalf of that number 6 machine to get his way back up into the top 5. But, you know, anything can and will happen in racing. And with 21 laps to go, we'll probably have a 19-lap shootout here for the championship. It's going to be an absolute spectacular show. For everyone in the chat, thank you for joining us here on 3 Wide TV on YouTube. Remember to like and subscribe to us for these races. Of course, we will be back next season, I do believe, which is going to be very awesome to be able to follow these drivers through another season. But let's see if we can dial up another driver here. And Tanner, let's see. Who are we going to dial up this time? What about the 51 and Mitch Brown?
Sure. All right, I've caught up with Mitch Brown. Mitch Brown, 3Y TV booth, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mitch, first and foremost, what a great call. First on that 2-tire call, man. I know it's probably a hectic trying to wait until the tires calm down just a little bit, but that 2-tire call got you up there in the top 3 to compete with the leaders, and it looked like you were competing with Mogard pretty good on those 2 tires. Did it surprise you?
No, not really. Just, you know, we had to try something. We weren't going to beat these guys straight up on speed. We had to do some strategy. Yeah, those 2 tires felt really good the first 5 or 10 laps. You know, and then it just kind of gradually went away. You know, hopefully we can stay up here and compete with these guys for the championship.
Yeah, you just received the 1-to-go signal. Is there any strategy right now? Is there a preferred line that you like as this run goes on? Right now you're on the bottom side of the racetrack competing with the top contenders.
I just got to find out where the fast guys are running and just go with it, you know. That's pretty much it. We just got to see where they're running at and try to stay up with them, stay competitive with them as much as we can. You know, hopefully we can stay with Mogard and, you know, try to get to him, white flag, give him a little bumper, but you know, we'll see what happens.
All right, we'll let you go there, Mitch. Best of luck.
Thanks.
Looks like Mitch Brown is just trying to play everything by ear to see how it's all going to play out. I mean, so that's one of those reasons I always say you can plan things until the green flag drops. So here we go. Brian Yazik, Mogard, Brown, Worsler, and Haggerty, the top 5. Remember, Haggerty is on 2 right side tires. We're back green flag racing. Haggerty does not get a good start, but the top 4 contenders do. Mitch Brown, a little bit caught sleeping on that start. He's found side by side with
the 6 machine, Haggerty. Almost sideways, but it was sideways. Almost wrecked it right in front of the field. He's going to go from the 5th position all the way back to around the 17th position or so. See this on the replay. Man, that thing just broke completely loose. That was crazy how fast that car broke loose. But I can tell you, Mitch Brown and Will Worsler have got around Jared Mogard for 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, he definitely is. Mitch Brown up the 2nd spot right now. Battle for 3rds between Worsler and Mogard. But back on the Jared Haggerty topic there, you know, that's just the product that was too many green flag laps to take 2 right side tires. I understand you run for a championship, But that was just one of the deals that just happens when you take 2 right side tires and the old sides are really worn down on that long green flag run. It just happens. But man, this battle is heavy for 3rd spot between Mogard and Worsler. Look at Worsler get that run off the high side. It's like a hot dog being shot out of a bun off of turn number 4.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Jared Mogart down there on the bottom, he got pinched down there by Will Worsler, and Worsler was able to take away all momentum that Mogart had, and that's why you saw Worsler have that kind of shot out of the cannon effect down the front straightaway. But now they'll do battle here in turn number 3 and 4. Let's not count out Mitch Brown. We kind of saw this out of him at Homestead-Miami in the Sim Marketing Solutions Cup Series a few weeks back. He wasn't so fast at the beginning of the race, but come the end of the race, he ended up winning the thing and then winning the SMS Cup Series title. But Will Worsler and Mogart still doing battle with one another, going through turn number 1 and 2. And we'll see if Worsler can get that shot out of the cannon-like effect here down the backstretch. Unable to do so, as Mogart, I think, will probably take the position. That inside groove has been the preferred line into turn number 3. But Worsler says, hey, buddy, not so fast. I'm going to pinch you down there, as Brian Yazik throws up some sparks there.
Oh, trouble! 48 down on the inside. On the front stretch.
Well, that's a 77 of Giese, I believe.
That's not 48, excuse me. Yeah, Alex Giese.
2 similar-looking race trucks out there, but Giese just got loose coming out of turn number 4. There you see it on the replay. Yeah, hit the inside wall with the left side of that car, and unfortunately for Giese, not what he was looking for. He was actually inside the top 10 when that happened. But looking at this battle up at the front, look at the 29 of Will Worsler. Remember, Will Worsler, he's only running for the Truck Series Championship. He's not concerned about the Premier Series Championship, unlike the 51 and the 00. So Will Worsler has less to lose, I should say, than the 51 and the 00. So he's absolutely going for it in that sliced Toyota Tundra.
It's 2 different battles between 3 different drivers. The first battle is for the Truck Series Championship, the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series Championship, between Will Worsler and Jared Mogard.
And Mitch Brown.
All 3 of them are going for the
trucks.
championship. That's right. So and the other championship is for the Premier Series between Brown and Mogard. So there's like 2 different title championships going on right now. And here goes Worsler.
Yeah, that number 29 machine dived to the inside. He got a huge run there on entry into turn number 1, was almost able to make that pass stick, as we only have 13 laps to go here at Homestead-Miami. Diving it off into turn number 3. Worsler's going to make that move work. He's going to slide up in front of Mitch Brown. Oh, the 55 of Yazik's in the wall. We're 3 wide with 12 laps to go.
3 wide. Oh, trouble! Clipped! He got clipped down into 1. He saves it. He's about to save it. Save it. Come back on track. I might get hit. This will bring out a yellow.
That will bring out a caution, and that is absolute heartbreak for the number 29 of Will Worsler. Going for the race lead, just got tagged a little bit there, and they were 3 wide for the race lead, and that is definitely not what that number 29 wanted to have happen. Remember, the 55 there, Yazik clipped the wall coming out of turn number 4. It was 3 wide, and I really think the 29 thought he was clear. It looked like Will came down the racetrack and ended up just clipping the right front of the 51 machine, and ended up in the outside wall. I know he just tried to close that door and get that race lead there, but that is absolute heartbreak for Will Worsler.
Tremendous driving, though, by Will Worsler. I mean, he came out of that whole ordeal with cars on the banking trying to get around him with minimal damage. So he's just going to have to put some 4 fresh stickers on that thing and go for broke now. But, man, and I tell you what, the race leader, Brian Yazik, got pretty lucky on that ordeal, because he was in the wall, and they were 3 wide about to overtake him. Then that caution came out, so...
Yeah, and Brian's got a lot of right side damage from that contact with the outside wall. So that could play, an effect here for the closing laps as well. They're right on board with the number 51 of Mitch Brown. You see that contact, and man, what a good move there by Richard Stallings in the number 17 machine. We haven't really mentioned Stallings here tonight, but he's quietly put together a good run. We'll highlight that here in just a moment, but all your leaders are on pit road, including Jared Mogard and the 51 of Mitch Brown. It'll be interesting to see here exactly who's going to win this race off pit road. There's the 55 machine. Oh, a couple of two-tire takers here. The 41 Tim Knott, the 28 of Troy Haight, and it looks like the 00 of Mogard is going to beat Mitch Brown off pit road, so that's an interesting turn of events. Mitch Brown will be the 5th truck off pit road, Jaron Mogard the 4th truck off pit road, but two-tire takers, the 41 of Tim Knott and the 28 of Troy Haight, will win the race off pit road. Very interesting calls here.
I mean, you got drivers who are going for championships. You got drivers trying to win the race. I mean, yeah, it's it's gonna be very exciting, man. Because we got 10 laps to go here, coming to 9 laps to go. Oh, I don't know. Will Worsler, he is back there in 12th position. Let's bring up Will and maybe see if we can get his comments here on what happened down in turn number 1. Will Worsler, 3YTV, you got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, I do.
All right, Will. I know you're trying to hit the reset button here, and you're going to have about 8 laps to go. About 8 laps to go when we get the green flag. What happened down in turn number 1 there as you're going into the corner?
I don't know. I've got Tyler spot. He's out. He was just looking at it, and he said it was really hard to tell. He was looking at it when you pulled me up here, so I haven't heard anything definitive. I don't want to say because I really can't tell you from where I was sitting.
Yeah, well, right now it's a reset button here. Is there going to be a way for you to get back that number 29 machine back up towards the front? It's one of the fastest trucks of the night.
I mean, with the situation, for me to have a shot, we're going to need some accidents and some green-white checkered, at least one. So,
all right.
I don't feel like I'll be able to get back up and battle for first and second without something like crazy happening.
All right. Well, hopefully, if something, maybe in your sake, something crazy does happen, but you're not involved in it. But you're still running for the championship there, Will, and hopefully you can get back up towards the front or the best finish you can possibly gain out of it.
Yeah, appreciate it, Tanner.
All right. That is Will Worsler, ladies and gentlemen. He's in the number 29 machine, Slice Toyota, in 11th position. I'm showing right now, so he'll have the inside groove to try to gain some track position. But let's dial up the 51, Peter, if you want to talk to. The 51 of Mitch Brown.
Yeah, just very quickly here, the 51 of Mitch Brown, just got the one to go, but you are now restarting this race in 5th position. You think restarting on that inside groove is going to be a good benefit for you here on the restart?
I don't know. We'll just see what happens. Kind of helps us that we got a teammate in front of us. He can kind of help us count down the restart. But we'll just see what happens, see what we can do. I feel like we got something for these guys, and hopefully we can come out on top.
Definitely showed a lot of pace under that last green flag run, Mitch, but we'll let you get back to it. Best of luck. All right. Well, Tanner, we have less than 10 laps here left in the American Sim Racing Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series and Premier Series Championships. Can you call how this is going to end? You got any picks for how this is going to all sort out?
Oh, boy. Do I have any picks? I'm going to do the old NASCAR pickaroo here. It's going to be too close to call. That is my pick. It's too close to call. But ladies and gentlemen, if you guys think this is intensifying and intense moments for these drivers, just wait, because the race is just now on.
7 laps to go to determine the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series title. We're back to green flag action. Good restart out of the 00 of Jaron Mogard, but he's boxed in by the 28 of Troy Haight. Remember that he's on 2 tires. And look at Mogard. He's going to shut the door on Mitch Brown. Mogard going to go underneath Troy Haight here. Look at Tim Knott up there in the race lead, trying to hold on over Brian Yazik. Remember, Tim Knott, he's a Premier Series championship contender. It's not over till it's over, and that's what Tim Knott's saying. If I get a little bit of track position,
Tim Knott's loose! Oh, it's one of those videos! Oh, big accident!
Mogard got some damage out of that. He saved it. Fantastic save out of Jared Mogard, but we got Troy Haight smoking, as well as Cody Spiker smoking in the 48 machine. Tim Knott smoking in the number 41 machine. Big accident here at Homestead-Miami, taking out a couple of championship contenders.
Boy, that damage might... the 00, yeah, the 00 got rubbed the door of Mogard. I think it's going to hurt Mogard more than Mitch Brown, because look where the contact was between Mogard and Mitch Brown. Oh, yeah, that's just, this is just a product and just the risk you take whenever you take 2 right side tires when you get 5+ laps on a green flag run. You're gonna, and in these loose conditions, we've seen it since the start of the race. It's gonna get loose, but you have to understand, Tim Knott's running for a championship. He's trying to, keep his spot up towards the front. Golly gee.
And that is going to put Mitch Brown in front of Jared Mogard here for this restart. Mogard is currently being scored in the 4th position, I do believe, and Mitch Brown's in 2nd. So that will put the 51 out front of the 00 here for the restart. Once we do go back to green flag action here in about 3 laps or so, I do believe, Tanner, that this might be a green-white checker. Don't know if it will be a official green-white checker, as we now have only 5 laps to go, but it, I think, could be just a 2-lap shootout to determine your American Sim Racing Series champion. And what about Jim Foose in his last Premier Series race? He's got that number 42 Menards Toyota Tundra up into the top 5.
What did he say on Facebook earlier? My goal is just to try to keep this truck clean and bring it home, and that's what he is. Not a scratch on that number 42 Menards Toyota, and he's up here running in the top 5, and right behind him is a cat who's running for the Truck Series Championship. That's Will Worsler. I mean, if I was Will, I would just follow Jim, because Jim's probably going to play it safe and not nice and safe here if you're just trying to come home with this thing unscathed to avoid all the craziness. But that's what I was chuckling at. It's like, just, he was right. Just avoid all the chaos, and we might be up there in a couple green-white checkers. But yeah, it's been some good racing. Jim Foose is up here. He's got a shot in his final race as a driver. Yeah. Let's talk about Jim.
I do want to make note that he's actually in the 6th position. That was a little bit of a iRacing scoring issue, but nonetheless, let's see if that number 42 machine's in the iRacing server where we can bring him. It doesn't look like he is, so it doesn't look like we'll be able to talk to Jim Foose here under caution here now with 4 laps to go. Pace car lights do stay on, so this will be, I believe, a 2-lap shootout to determine the American Sim Racing Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series champion, as well as the Premier Series champion. And this is going to be a crazy finish to the championship. I know, Tanner, a couple weeks back, the Sim Marketing Solutions Cup Series, we thought that was a crazy finish. We might be setting ourselves up for an even crazier finish here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's come down to it. I mean, you race all these races all season long, and it gets as close as this. I mean, you can't help but be excited and just sit here and wonder, man, what's going to happen? What's going to happen next? I thought I've seen everything in this race tonight. And folks, I hate to tell you this, but you haven't seen anything yet. Just wait till we get down to it here. The race has just now begun.
There's going to be 2 laps ago when we go back to green flag racing. I expect to see the pace car lights turn off. Indeed they do, as we just crossed the stripe with 97 of the 100 laps in the rear.
It is not an official green-white checkered, so if we do get another caution, then we will get a green-white checkered. But we're just received a question: how many green-white checkers will they do? I do believe it is 3 green-white checkers. So if we do get another caution, that will bring out the first green-white checkered. So just keep in mind, folks, this is not an official green-white checkered, as we are. It's getting hairy now. The pressure's on. Yazik, Brown, Stewart, Mogard, Stallings, the top 5. Jim Foose in 6th. Will Worsler 7th. Haggerty 8th. Alex Giese 9th. Rounding out the top 10, Edward Bray.
Yeah, it's been an absolute treacherous night for a lot of drivers. Lots of attrition. Only 12 trucks left in this field, which is pretty crazy considering we haven't had all too many yellows, but a couple of the yellows we have just taken out quite a few trucks. But here we go. 2 laps to go. 2 laps to determine the American Sim Racing Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series champion, and the number 55 of Brian Yazik already on the loud pedal. Look at that gap that he gets over the number 51 of Mitch Brown. Mitch Brown going to dive his 51 machine off into turn number 1, looking for that Premier Series and Truck Series title, trying to hold off the 00 of Jared Bogard. With now only 1.5 laps to go, he pulls up in front of the 00. He has to do all he can do to get this championship, now just about 2 miles away from actually sweeping the American Sim Racing titles for the season. No caution, no issues. The white flag is out here at Homestead-Miami. 1.5 miles to go in the Truck Series champion, as 42 races has almost been completed.
Oh, Richard Stallings spinnings. The race continues.
The race continues. We're on the last lap, so there will be no caution. The 51 of Mitch Brown now just half a lap away from the Truck Series and Premier Series title. The 55, Brian Yazek, trying to get his first win of the season. And I believe that number 55, Brian Yazek, will hold on for his first win of the season, but it's the 51 of Mitch Brown that wins both the Truck Series and Premier Series title. Fantastic job by that number 51 machine to sweep all 3 championships this year in the American Sim Racing Series. And I'm sure him and all those Dirty Bird Sim Racing teammates will be absolutely elated. And what about the 55 of Brian Yazek getting his first win? He has been due for a win over the last few weeks, getting that win. And what about Jim Foose coming home with a very solid top 7, league owner and organizer, his last career Premier Series race, and he will finish with a very good, solid top 7. Absolutely crazy. I mean, it wasn't super crazy there at the end, because the 51 of Mitch Brown got a fantastic restart, and I gotta say, getting that restart was all that number 51 needed.
Oh yeah, you know that restart from Yazek just started it off, and Mitch Brown, once he got clear, man, all he had to do was just follow Yazek, and that's all she wrote. But the driver that really drove his butt off in an amazing effort in trying to get the top 5 finish to salvage what all happened here tonight was Will Worsley. Man, he got underneath Stallings coming off of turn number 4, and he was just trying to go for it, man. He's just trying to make up whatever he could to get out of it, and he got the top 5. Stewart got in 4th position. Bogart got 3rd. What a season.
Yeah, and of course we'll get to interview Brian Yazek, Mitch Brown, Jared Mogard. It'll be some very, very good interviews. And that man right there comes home sweeping the Truck Series, Cup Series, and Premier Series points championships. Very, 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 very impressive. And what about Jim Foose out there doing some donuts?
Why not?
Yeah, we looked like he might have clipped that left rear a little bit just to make sure that number 42 was legal going through tech inspection, but he's going to wheel it on pit road. But we got the Dirty Bird Sim Racing drivers out there right now doing a polished victory lap. Very, very impressive to see those drivers right now. Unfortunately, the number 41 of Tim Knott blew a motor there right towards the end of the race. Unfortunately, unable to do this victory lap with him, but it was a very good fight that number 41 put up. Some interesting strategy calls, tried to, work his way up to the front by using strategy, just didn't quite work out for him, ending the race on the flatbed in that number 41 machine. But what a call about 2/3 of the way through the race standard that number 51 machine made to take 2 tires, and he made those 2 tires work better than everyone else in the field that took 2 tires tonight.
And he was running in the 7th position at the time, so he wasn't really going any forward, and he wasn't really going backward. Yeah, at that time he's like, man, I'm running for a championship. I got to make a call. So that call came at a perfect timing too, because they ran about a good 6 to 7 laps on green flag tires, and he made the call along with Tim Knott to take 2 right side tires. That position, keeping him out towards the front long enough, right in front of Mogard, kept Mitch Brown in position. And then that caution came out, and that gave him that track position to take 4 tires, just like the leaders. And he did say so. He said, I feel like I'm just as competitive as everybody else out here. And that he was.
Yeah, very, very impressive move. And, sometimes all it takes is a little bit of track position and a little bit of clean air, and all of a sudden that truck drives completely different. And I think we saw that out of that number 51, because up until that point, Mitch just wasn't super competitive. He just didn't, he even said it himself. He kind of wanted to see where the fast guys were running. And luck definitely was in his favor here tonight. And Mitch is going to take it to victory lane as champion.
He definitely will. He's doing some more burnouts here, adds in celebration, and rightfully so.
Well, while we get these celebratory donuts there for you on the screen, we're going to see if, a little bit of contact there with, and the 51 has toasted the motor here. And
I bet they're glad this doesn't cost any money.
Yeah, the Dirty Bird Sim Racing would probably have a pretty large bill after tonight with all of the damage that they accrued during the race and now after the race. But like I was going to say, we're going to just step away for a brief moment, line up some interviews for you here on 3 Wide TV. We'll talk to your top 3 finishers tonight, which includes Mitch Brown, your series champion. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Homestead-Miami Speedway, where we have crowned an American Sim Racing Sam Maxwell Customs Truck and Premier Series winner here tonight. But first off, we're going to go down to Victory Lane, where Tanner Sharp has caught up with the number 55 machine of Brian Yazik.
I've caught up with Brian Yazik, who has been fast, but had some scary moments here tonight, but still kept that 55 machine out towards the front in the clean air. And Brian, first and foremost, congratulations on winning the race here tonight at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. But man, that got pretty exciting in the last 50 laps of that race for you.
I feel like I was just waiting for it to all come unraveled. I mean, if y'all been a fan of the league all year and you've seen all these races, man, you've seen all the different ways I found to lose one of these things. But no, it was great. I mean, just we had to start out back, and I kind of used that first stint to just kind of figure out the way I wanted to go. And I was looking up, at that first caution, I was up there in 5th. I'm like, all right, well, we got a pretty good solid HPP simulation Tundra out there for Loud Pedal Motorsports, and I just kind of had to take advantage of things and have to dodge things all around me, man. It was like a video game out there.
Yeah, absolutely. But this has got to be a nice win for you, because it's been overall in all the racing that you've done on iRacing, as far as league racing is concerned, from what I've seen, it's been a while since you've been to Victory Lane. So it's got to feel really good to be out towards the front and capture and finally get that monkey off your back.
Oh, dude, it feels great. Yeah, you're right. Let me think here. My last league win before
I can tell you
it was August of last year.
I'm showing October 11th, 2018, and the Fuel Racing League, if you're running that.
Nope.
At Watkins Glen. Nope.
No. Oh, that was the Indy cars, so I'll give you that. I forgot about that one. But yeah, I mean, in the tip top last August, man. Woof.
Yeah, it's been a while for you there, Brian. But overall, let's talk about a little bit on the race tonight. You started, you got an EOL penalty at the start of the race here tonight. That's why you didn't take qualifying speed. So you were just driving up through the field. You're pretty patient for the most part, but fast. I bet some of those drivers out there were like standing still for you at times. You're just kind of mowing towards your front, and by time closer to halfway, you find yourself up towards the front, and you're battling pretty hard trying to work that bottom, but that bottom's not really working. It seemed like it was the middle to high groove, and that seemed like that was changing as the run went on. What was the best comfort for your truck to run in which groove tonight to keep you up towards the front?
Well, I mean, for me, I know that bottom was kind of a struggle. I mean, I was kind of the only pioneer down there, but I felt like that's what really worked for me. So I just kind of stuck with it. And that first part of the run, you know, I found my marks that I wanted to stick with and kind of where I wanted to be on the track, and it just kind of worked out. I mean, the biggest thing was, you know, especially at Homestead, it's going to slide that right rear tire, and it's going to slide that right rear tire and really mess everything up. So if you can take care of that right rear tire, you'll be pretty golden. So for me, that was just kind of the big focus. And I know running up top, you know, that can kind of help, but I don't know. I didn't want to bounce it up against the fence and really wreck a good run. So we just kind of stayed as far away from the fence as we could and just kept the hammer down.
You had a very close call earlier in the race as well. You actually were kissing the wall on the front stretch there that really slowed your speed down, that allowed a 3-wide battle for that spot between Worsler and Brown. You guys were battling for the top spot, then that caution came out, and you still held the lead. What was your mindset going through that whole ordeal?
Well, I'm sitting there watching the battle behind me, and I'm watching what's going on, and I scraped the damn wall, and I'm like, man, don't do this to yourself. And then they got inside and got 3 wide. I'm like, oh man, here we go again. And then something happened. I don't know who got into Will or what happened down there, but I mean, that kind of kept me out front and put us in the spot that we needed to be for this HPP Simulation Tundra.
That HP Simulation Tundra was just fast, and that wall was just, it's like it never happened here tonight at Homestead. But, well, before we let you go here and let you celebrate here, Brian, is there any future plans for the Truck Series portion of the ASRS in the future for you for the HPP Simulations Toyota?
You know, I don't know with the Tundra, because I know this stuff is the Truck Series is moving to Wednesday nights, and that kind of conflicts with a couple other things. So, I mean, I might, you know, I don't know if Jim lets me make a couple little one-offs there, but we're going to focus in on the Cup Series on Tuesday and go try and win ourselves a championship over there. And hey, we're in the All-Star race now, man. That's pretty awesome. I just realized that.
Yeah, you're in the All-Star race right now, and more importantly, you got that monkey off your back, and now you got that win. Now it's time to go get some more wins, win that All-Star race, and win that championship. Sounds like a good plan?
Hey, I like it. I'm on board.
All right, Brian, thank you for taking the time to talk with us this evening. Congratulations on the win here tonight on getting that HPP Simulations Toyota Tundra in victory lane.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you guys, and thanks Jim and Sam and everything everybody does. Congrats on all the champions, man. That's pretty cool. Like, life is good, man.
Heck yeah. All right, congratulations, Brian.
All right, later on, man.
That's Brian Yazik, ladies and gentlemen, who takes it to victory lane here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway in the number 55 HPP Simulations Toyota Tundra. Now let's go to one of our championship contenders, to number 00, Jared Mogard, who finishes in the 3rd position. Jared, do you have a copy?
Yeah, you got my guys?
I definitely got you there, Jared. And Jared, it was maybe a coulda, shoulda, woulda kind of a night. You started off very strong, leading laps, and all of a sudden it sounds like you just couldn't get by some certain guys out there. It's like you were hitting a brick wall of air. Tell me about your night overall on getting it in the top 3.
Yeah, it was a good night. I don't know, it was a good night. Did everything we needed to do again, and for the 2nd time this year, we just came up a little bit short.
Yeah, and it's very unfortunate they came up dead short, but there is no doubt whatsoever that you are one of the fast guys and, you know, one of the top guys in the American Sim Racing Series as far as your speed goes, because you notched up a total of 7 wins this season, 16 top 5s, 18 top 10s. What a whale of a season you had here in the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they're great, but at the end of the day, there's no championship sitting in the trophy case to show for it, so it's all kind of all for naught. You know, there were 3 possible, and we ended up with 0. Felt like we should have had at least 2, but I don't know. Just, stats are good, don't get me wrong, but you know, they don't really mean much if you don't bring home the championship, because that's the reason why we do it all.
And Jared, that's very true. And is there any future plans on trying to maybe rebound next season to go for that championship and actually get that championship on your mantle?
Yeah, as long as we get an invite to come back next year, we'll the Double O will be back in the Cup Series full time for sure. As long as we get an invite, we'll be here. You know, we'll be done for it, and hopefully third time's a charm for that Cup Series and get it done. But I don't know, it's just frustrating, man. We were really, really good. We were really fast, and we're just keeping our nose clean and racing everybody clean, and just things there at the end just didn't quite work out that way.
All right, Jared. Well, we're going to let you go here. Congratulations on the top 3 spot for the podium finish, but unfortunately it's not a championship night for you. But Jared, once again, thank you for talking with us.
Yeah, I just got to thank my sponsors, Flash and Go Graphics, High Power Computers, Computer Supports, all the guys at MOS are in. I got to thank Jim and Sam. Jim puts in a lot of effort, and Sam does a lot of sponsorship stuff and doing race control. So excited to have them guys in the race control tower next year. You guys for the broadcast this year and coming back next year. It's been fun getting to know you guys, hang out with you guys, and we're looking forward to doing the same again next year. And shout out to all the fans for watching. Thank you.
That is Jared Mogard, ladies and gentlemen, who finishes 3rd tonight, was looking for the championship, but came up just a little bit short, even though he had the most wins on the season, one of the most competitive guys without a shot of a doubt. But Peter Short has caught up with one of our drivers who competed here tonight. Peter, who'd you catch up with?
Well, I caught up with your league champion. And when I say league champion, this guy swept the Sim Marketing Solutions Cup Series a couple weeks ago. And tonight sweeps the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series and Premier Series points titles. He's none other than driver of the number 51 machine, Mitch Brown. And Mitch, I want to congratulate you first and foremost on getting the hat trick, as our league producer has dubbed it. First off, tell us a little bit about your night, how you were able to make that 2-tire call about 2/3 of the way into the race and getting that track position. How much did it help you?
Shit, man, it helped us a lot because we cannot compete with these guys on speed at all. Just that 2-tire strategy call, they kind of changed our race completely. I just felt like being up front more and just being out, just having a little bit more clean around the nose kind of helped us out. And it kind of showed at the end. We kind of was able to hold off Mogard, and we got the sweep. Yeah,
I mean, at the beginning of the season, back at Atlanta, when we entered the first race this year, that was a long time ago, Mitch. That was back in January, the first week of January, effectively. And here you are at the end of the season. I mean, what have been your highlights this season for that number 51 machine prior to tonight?
Just kind of just taking it. I really don't have a big highlight. I think it's just, definitely these last month and a half kind of really catapulted our season. We were just kind of consistent. We were just, most early on the season we had our struggles, and I think during the mid season and the summer month we kind of just were a points race and just trying to get as much points as we can get into the playoffs. And I think we just hit a hot streak and this last month and a half, and just we just couldn't be stopped.
Yeah, it was a very, very impressive way to round out the season with 3 wins in the last 4 races. I did my math a little bit wrong there. That's not the first time tonight. But yeah, 3 wins in the last 4 races. I mean, that is just what you got to do to win a championship. Have you been putting more time in for practice? Or, what's led to that success here at the end of the year? Is it momentum? What is it?
I've been putting in a lot of more practice lately, and I just feel like early in the year we kind of were taking things for granted a lot and kind of forcing the issue, so to say. but I think it does have to do with more practice. I've been practicing, I've been putting the laps in, not a lot to wear me out, but just enough to get a feel on how each setup handles at each track. And I think that, as you said, 3 wins on the last 4 races. I think the momentum just was on our side, and no one can handle us.
Well, you got 7 wins this year in the Premier Series. First win coming back at Daytona. You got your second win at Charlotte. You won at Gateway, and then you made it to the playoffs. And 4 of those 7 wins came in the playoffs with Vegas, Phoenix, and then your couple wins at Homestead. In fact, that's 8 wins because this race hasn't come up here tonight. But you got 5 wins in the playoffs. That's just huge. Like you said, you found that momentum and you were able to put things together. So very, very impressive finish to the season for that number 51 machine. But looking forward to next year, of course, you will come into the season as the defending champion. Are you looking to defend your crown?
As of right now, I don't know. I really don't know. Hopefully, with the changes in the league next year and us, running more a full-time cup schedule than a truck schedule, that might change our plans a little bit. But we're just kind of relax in the off season. Take it day by day, week by week. Just relax a little bit. Take a couple weeks off. But we'll be back for 2020. I don't know what kind of resort we'll be in, full time, part time. I really don't know, but you'll find out. You'll find out in January when you guys are broadcasting our first race of the year. So stay tuned.
Absolutely, we will definitely stay tuned. Of course, 3 Wide TV. We will be back next year, so we'll definitely be keeping an eye on things. But Mitch, before we let you go, we want to give you the opportunity to give your shout-outs one final time this year. We will be back for the All-Star race in a couple weeks, which we're very much looking forward to. But give us some shout-outs.
Well, we got to... I honestly have to thank Jared Haggerty because he gave me some tips at the end of the race and definitely helped me out, especially on the short run because I could not compete with those guys at all. So I got to thank him that for helping me out. Got to thank all my teammates at Dirty Bird. They are the nicest and chillest group of guys you can ever be around, and the greatest teammates that anybody can have. And I can't thank those guys enough for helping me and keeping me calm and trying to keep me relaxed all season because it's been hectic all season for all of us at Dirty Bird. So I want to thank those guys a lot. I want to thank my championship competitors. I want to thank Jared. I want to thank Mogard for racing me clean. I know the last couple weeks have been kind of iffy, especially with the Cup Series finale. And, I did reach out to all those guys, and I did apologize for that race. That wasn't usually how I race. That just was uncharacteristic of me. I really don't do that stuff. I want to thank Will. Will's one of the nicest guys in the league. If he does something wrong, he will immediately apologize, send you a thank you apology message on Facebook. So I can't thank him enough for racing me clean all year. My teammate Haggerty for racing me clean all year. I gotta thank Seville. I gotta thank Tim. Everybody in this league. We're all a bunch of good guys. We all have our off weeks. Some of us, have our bad days. Some of us have our good days. But we're a core group of guys, and we know how to race each other, and that's why we produce great races each and every week. Also, I gotta thank Sam for sponsoring, the truck series these last 2 years. He does a lot behind the scenes, Sam and Jim. So I want to thank Sam enough for sponsoring the league the last 2 years, and hopefully his new role with the league is will be better for him. Gotta thank Jim as well. Jim, without him, we wouldn't have this. He's the founder of this league. built the league from the ground up twice. You know, so I gotta thank him for that. And last but not least, I gotta thank you guys. You guys just do a fantastic job. You did it all year long, from race 1 to now. Fantastic job with the broadcasting the race each and every week. So I want to thank each of you guys individually for just being putting on the excitement and giving the people who are watching at home the excitement and the feel that they're actually at the racetrack each and every week.
Well, we definitely have a lot of fun up here in the booth, and it definitely helps that you guys put on a great show out there on the racetrack to commentate with. So we want to thank all of y'all race car drivers for doing that here in the American Sim Racing Series. It's definitely a lot of fun. But Mitch, congratulations once again, ending up as the champion, getting the 3 different championships this year for the American Sim Racing Series, the hat trick, as our producer calls it. Very, very cool to see that. It'll be interesting to see if anyone can replicate that next year. But until we see you on the racetrack again, Mitch, which will probably be in a couple of weeks for the American Sim Racing All-Star Race, we wish you best of luck, and don't party too hard here tonight.
I won't. Like I said in the Cup Series finale, there's champagne at the trailer. Y'all are more than welcome to come on and celebrate with me after you're done with the broadcast. So I'll be there all night. We're going to have a long night here at Homestead.
All right. Well, looking forward to that. And once we're all wrapped up here on 3 Wide TV. But, Mitch, we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is your 2019 Sam Maxwell Customs Premier Series champion, as well as your Truck Series champion, as well as the Sim Marketing Solutions Cup Series champion, getting that hat trick. Well, I think we just have one more interview lined up for you here tonight, and that is driver of the number 42 Menards Toyota Tundra. And Jim Foose, you got over 100 wins here in the American Sim Racing Series, and you're not completely done with racing here. You're going to still be racing a little bit next year, but not on the Premier Series side of things. Came away with a decent result here tonight. Got that number 42 machine up near the front right there at the end. How bittersweet is it to step out of that race truck?
It's been a long time. It's hard to do it, but the grass on the other side always is greener, and it looks really green right now. But I'm really excited about what I'm going to do next year and be able to kind of actually do 2 things and be with you guys for some races, and then be with Race Control for the races that they need me. We're just growing as a league and as an organization, and it's best to take the stakeholders out of the competition on the track to ensure just a fair race and a fair competition for everybody. So it's the right call. It's a little bittersweet, but still get the race on Wednesday nights. I'll still get to race the Menards Toyota Tundra next year over there in the Truck Series, and we'll still have a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. We've eased into this role where Sam has done a lot of the race control stuff, and has kept me in the loop of things of why he made a call, and has showed me these things, so that next year when I'm sitting out of races and don't have an emotional attachment to any car on the track, it's going to be pretty easy to make calls that way.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of changing gears into that leadership role, which of course you've always had a part in, even going back to the NASCAR Racing 2003 season days, back when the American Sim Racing used to run that. Of course, it evolved over into the iRacing simulator, and really has bloomed into a Premier Series. It is the same Maxwell Customs Premier Series, but it is one of the Premier Series for all of iRacing, and that is credit in part to the leadership that you have put in place, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see how you handle things now that you're out of the race car.
Yeah, like I said, it's bittersweet to not be racing next year. It's going to be fun. It's going to be something new, and not the week-to-week grind of 41 races this year, and having to put in the time to prepare for all of those races, and then the Wednesday night stuff that we have on top of it. little known fact here. I'm still in the championship hunt over on the Wednesday night series, and this has kind of pulled me away from that because obviously you want to do good on TV. So, like I said, I mean it's a great thing to have the ability to do, and the organization has just gotten bigger, and we're going to be stronger next year. And I'm just really excited to have that role and be able to be hands-on with that more next year than maybe in the past.
And kind of looking retrospectively on this season, you've had some spectacular partners jump on board all season long on sponsors of some of these race trucks, sponsors of these races, and of course the big sponsors, Sim Marketing Solutions and Sam Maxwell Customs actually being the series sponsors. How important have they been to the success this season?
Without each and every one of our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do the great things that we do and have the great prizes. There's going to be over $3,100 worth of prizes given out next week at what we're calling the banquet. It won't be a live banquet, but we're going to do it all online. We got a couple raffles, just great things that our sponsors and really their partners have provided us. And a lot of that comes from Sam Maxwell with Sam Maxwell Customs. He's stepping into an ownership role with us next year, which is really cool. And Todd over at Sim Marketing Solutions, I mean, he did a lot with the Cup Series and really helped us promote a lot of those races. Also have to thank Fame Design and Media, Sackett and Brake Survey Company, iRacingIFlag, of course, 3 Wide TV, Driven Designs, Kaufman Racing Graphics, everybody that sponsored races this year. I don't even want to get into the list of those because I know I'll forget somebody and I don't want to do that. But without all of those partners, we wouldn't be able to do what we do on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, it is a fantastic group of people to be a part of, and of course changing what esports is little bit by little. Of course, you are the founder of the American Esports Association, running really the Premier Series. It has been an absolute honor to get to know these drivers, the competitors, and just how competitive this league is, and to see how it runs each and every week here on the Premier Series side of things. So very, very awesome in that respect. But Jim, before we let you go, you got some shout outs and any further thank yous to give?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody who was a part of the 2019 Sam Maxwell Customs Premier Series, of course, Sim Marketing Solutions Cup Series, and the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series, as well as our development series along the way. You mentioned all those things that we're doing and have founded and have built. And now we've taken on a role to revive the United Short Track Alliance, the USA Series. So that's coming back next year under us. And then, of course, the online All-American 400, Wicked Energy Gum, December Dirt Week. I mean, there's just a whole list of great partners that we have to be able to do all this stuff. So I want to thank all of them, thank all the drivers, thank everybody who's watched all season long. We had some rough races, I guess we can call them wreckfests. And we had some good racing, so I'm glad that folks stuck with us through the whole season, watched it, and hope everybody enjoyed. Hope everybody has a great holiday season, and we'll see you guys in the new year. Of course, we still have you guys for the Hacksaw's PC's All-Star race here in 2 weeks, so we're excited about that. But I know we might not have all of our viewers for that one, but that's definitely one that you're probably going to want to make sure that you watch.
Yeah, and just for the viewers who are still tuned in here on YouTube, here on 3 Wide TV, what is going to be the format for this All-Star race?
It is a straight-up 200-mile race at Chicagoland Speedway, so it's 134 laps. I think, you know what, I haven't gotten the final last bit there. Sam and I haven't ironed out if we're going to do a tire limit or not on the race. That'll come in the next couple days, but we have a few things up our sleeve. Of course, the Open is next week, the Hacksaw's PC's All-Star Race Open for all the non-winners, and then the fan vote also going on our website. So all that stuff's going on here, and going to get, only the winner gets to go in from the Open next week, and the winner of the fan vote gets in. So basically, at the end of the line here, when we get to the All-Star race, every single driver that's in that race won to get there.
Yeah, that is very, very cool. Make sure to go on and vote on the American Sim Racing Series website. Go check them out. But Jim, congratulations on another very successful season. It was a very, very interesting season all the way from Atlanta back in January to here tonight. But the season has finally turned its last page pretty much.
Yeah, I just got the Truck Series points here, and found out that I ended up winning the best of the non-championship four. So we'll take that and ride our Menards Toyota Tundra off into the sunset, at least on the TV side of things, Premier side of things, and get ready for next year. We're going to come out with a roar and a big bang when we get out there. So stay tuned. Next week, there's a big announcement coming during the banquet, like we mentioned, and there's going to be some really cool things coming up. The prize pool for next year is getting close to this year's already, and we haven't even really gotten into everything. So it should be really interesting and a really cool package for everybody. Anybody that's looking for a league for 2020, of course, we're of course your best option, your place that you want to race, and we want to be that place for you. So I want to welcome all those guys in, and again, thank you. Thank 3 Wide TV. Thank Carlos for we ended up making this deal like a week before the last race or a couple days before it. And Carlos worked his butt off to get everything done. We got it done, and you guys really stuck your neck out there to help us out with everything. Make sure that we were on 3 Wide TV, and we're happy to have you guys as a partner with us as well. So, really excited about that. If you're not in our development race tomorrow, Wednesday night, then make sure that you check out the Simpossible race on 3 Wide TV, because I'm sure that's going to be a pretty good one.
And it will be another championship race. Another champion will be crowned here on 3 Wide TV tomorrow night. So that will be a good one. But Jim, just make sure with that prize pool, just make sure my name is in the ballot for favorite commentator, if there is one, at the banquet in a couple of weeks. But nonetheless, Jim, we thank you for stopping by here. Congratulations once again, and we'll be talking to you pretty shortly because it's only in a couple of weeks when we got that All-Star race.
Our favorite commentator award is a Swiffer. You can dust out the race control hauler if you'd like.
All right, I'll get to work.
And by the way, you can get that Swiffer at Menards, 11% off rebate this week. Make sure that you swing by Menards and pick up all your household.
It wouldn't be a Jim Foose interview without a Menards mentioned there. But Jim, once again, we'll talk to you here in just a couple of weeks, but best of luck.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, that is league owner and organizer, driver number 42, Jim Foose, stepping away from the Premier Series to step over into race control status. But Tanner, I kind of did the same thing a year ago myself. I stepped out of the race seat. I've only run a couple races in iRacing since the Truck Series Championship that I battled for last year. I ended up not winning it, but I kind of stepped away. I wasn't having any fun driving. I wanted to do something a little bit different, so I stepped into the broadcasting booth. And let me tell you, when Jim Foose says that Carlos Acosta put all this stuff together, him and Jim, a couple days before the season, it literally was. I didn't know I was going to be broadcasting the American Sim Racing Series till literally a day before the first race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So I've definitely had to learn a lot of the drivers' names over the season, but I've definitely learned those drivers and how they race, and this is a fantastic league, Tanner.
He's one of the hardest working guys in broadcasting sim racing races on iRacing. It's Mr. Carlos Acosta, who at times does it by himself.
Yeah, I mean, Carlos has done stuff all by himself, and got to give a shout out to our man, Carlos Acosta, the man behind the scenes, manning all these cameras each and every week. Has been able to put this whole show together, and a couple of times during the year, #blame Carlos has been a thing, but it has been an honor to work for Carlos and with Carlos, and it's been an honor to work with Jim Foose, Sam Maxwell, and everyone here at the American Sim Racing Series. But Tanner, any final thoughts on the championship?
Homestead-Miami Speedway, I mean, my opinion, I'm so used to that track being the championship track, and it always will be. I do believe in the future NASCAR races in real life. They're moving to ISM Speedway, so curious how that's going to work out. Still not a fan of the new layout, my opinion. But although that's what the future will hold. But hey, what a championship night tonight. Brian Yazzie, who's not running for a championship, gets a monkey off his back. And you got Mitch Brown collecting the championship in a close battle with Mogard, Warsler, and Tim Knott as well. Tim Knott was leaving up towards the front the last few laps at times as well. So shout out to those guys over there. But on to next season, on to different things. I've had my opportunity here in the 3-wide booth. A lot of these ASRS races, it's fun watching these guys race and seeing what the boys are up to. And yeah, I'm just kind of glad to be up here. I've been on a hiatus for quite a while too, and now I'm just getting back into things. So trying to plan my winter stuff. And, get ready.
I was going to say, Tanner, it's great to have you back in the booth. Of course, for those who didn't know, Tanner went away, had surgery. Surgery went successful, went through some rehabilitation, now able to be back in the booth. So it's fantastic to have him back here tonight for the season finale. But I think we do have one more thing in store for you here tonight. The race results. They're right there on the screen. They've been begging to be read now for about the past minute and a half right there in front of your screen. But Brian Yazzie, I'm sure you guys have probably read through all of these since it's been on the screen for a while, but I'll read through them anyway. Brian Yazzie comes home with the victory, and that was one of my key takeaways from tonight, that 55, like you said, able to get the monkey off his back, has had some crazy runs the last few weeks, but gets it done here tonight. Mitch Brown comes home second, but clinches the 3 championships, the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series, the Premier Series, and Sim Marketing Solutions. Absolutely crazy, the Triple Crown. Jared Mogard finishing third, just the runner-up again. I mean, we can say the same thing about Mogard. He is the bridesmaid in all 3 championships. He finished runner-up to Mitch Brown in Cup, the Premier Series, and Trucks. I mean, that just must feel that there's something that was missing there at the end of the season. I'm sure it's left an empty spot in him, and he'll be going for that next year. Finishing in the 4th position, Jason Stewart, Will Warsler 5th, Jared Haggerty 6th, Jim Foose 7th, as Carlos is already wanting us to get things wrapped up. Alex Giese comes home 8th, Lee Staples 9th, Edward Bray rounding out your top 10. Tanner, take it away.
11th place, Richard Stallings. Coley Speecher is going to finish in the 12th position. Tim Knott, 5 laps down, championship contender. There's Troy Haight. Premier Series contender, Tyler Sawville. 15th, Brandon Stokes. Kelsey Rogers. Jim McKee, Jack Wells, the 19th. Steve Bahula, final time in a Jim Foose Motorsports truck. He finishes 20th. 21st, Alan Young. Pete Baskins in 22nd. Got caught up in an accident, so did Alan Young. Richard Fletcher and Sam Maxwell and Nick Curling did not start tonight's event, so it was 23 trucks tonight. Most laps led tonight, Jared Mogard. So that will conclude the race results here on 3Wide TV there, Peter.
Yeah, I just want to give a final shout out to everyone who's watched any and all of the races this season here on 3Wide TV in the American Sim Racing Series. It's been an absolute honor to put together this for you guys this year. We're very much looking forward to next season. Of course, we're not quite done yet. In a couple weeks, 2 weeks from now, we do have the All-Star race here for the American Sim Racing Series, so come on back for that. And in December, we actually have Dirt Week, which is where you'll see most of these drivers slinging mud. So that should be a lot of fun. We had only 1 dirt race this year back at Eldora about halfway through the year, so it's going to be fun to see those guys on dirt. But before we let you go as well, we do have a couple thank yous to say ourselves. First off, we want to give thanks to SimTV for the camera angles that we get each and every week. SimTV gives us their camera package so that we can present to you a high-quality broadcast. They're great friends, great group of producers themselves. Go check out SimTV on YouTube. They're a fantastic, awesome team. As well as Thomas Morris over at OCR TV. Thomas Morris was the one who put together this 3-wide TV graphics package. He's improved on it. We've asked him multiple times this year, hey, can you do this for us? Can you do this for us? And he has always been able to come through with something. So, Thomas, we very much appreciate your part in making 3 White TV what it is. But, gentlemen, I think for the last time, it is time to say good night on the Premier Series side of things. For myself, Peter Short, Tanner Sharp, and Carlos Acosta back in the production truck, we want to give each and every one of you a very, very big thank you and a good night. And we'll see you again next season here for the American Sim Racing Series. See ya!